What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, OTB Nation? Welcome into episode number 418 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, the most unprofessional and disrespectful lacrosse podcast you ever done, seen, and heard in the land. It is the Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Industries Podcast Network. KB and Deej coming at you. First episode post-champ series. That's what we're going to start this episode off with. It's very rare during this time of year we start with anything PLL, WLL, unless it's major, but we felt with everything we got to accomplish down at Champ Series, we've got some interviews on this episode with a bunch of players, new friends of the pod. It felt right to start there, interviews in the middle of the episode, and then we'll dive into the NLL action. Simply because I was down at Champ Series taking it all of that in. Deej was catching up on the college game, and we were doing our best to keep up with NLL. NLL kind of took a backseat a little bit this weekend. We were box score watching. We were highlight watching. So we're going to start with what we were in attendance for, because there's a lot to unpack. We got to do a lot. We got to talk to a lot of people. I get to fill Deej in on some stuff here, which I'm excited about. So that's how we're going to format this episode. It'll go WLL Championship Series, interviews. PLL Champ Series, interview. Then we'll talk NLL. So for all the NLL sickos out there, we love the NLL. Just we feel like this is a pretty big weekend for us. So we're going to start with that. Before we get into all of that, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod across the board. We've gotten a lot of new followers over the past couple of days. Shout out to the Chaos admin. Shout out to the Carolina Chaos admin. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But follow us on the socials at OTB LaxPod. We're like 30 followers away from 1,800 on Twitter, which is pretty nice. Get us to 2K. Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star review. It helps the show continue to grow. Let's do more dope stuff with and for you guys. Deej, we're collectively almost at 500 subscribers across audio platforms alone, which is pretty sweet.
Get us there. We only need a couple more.
Podcast, that's pretty sick.
That's more than sick, man. To the moon, my boy.
So keep subscribing. Apple, Spotify, leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. And, of course, guys, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia and Outside the Box podcast YouTube channels, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's where you get full video versions of this version of the show every single week, full video episodes of all original 6 shows on the network, clips, shorts, live streams, original video content. It's all on that YouTube channel. We're at 1,261 subscribers. Can we get to 1,300 before the end of the month? Let's make that happen. youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. youtube.com/@OTB LaxPod is all of our original content. Interviews that are standalone, like the Mike Rabel interview, like the Meg Carney interview that you will also hear on this episode. We'll have we're working on getting all of our backlogged interviews that we've done over the years uploaded on that channel so that they live there and all that good stuff. Plus any original content. When Deej and I play Sporkle, when we open up packs of cards. And, of course, the OTB College Lacrosse Show is also on that channel in video form. Go subscribe over there, youtube.com/@OTB LaxPod. I was talking about some stuff with Patty Pitts because we're starting a new series on his YouTube channel, Deej, where it's Wikipedia races, where you start on Planet Earth's Wikipedia page, and we have to get to something pertaining to wrestling in a timed duration. I was like, we got to start doing some more original content on our channels, something like that, doing Sporkle, doing stuff like that with lacrosse, because that'd be so funny.
Dude, that sounds actually like a lot of fun. I don't know how many lacrosse type things we could do, but
it was so funny.
That literally sounds like so much fun.
We wasted like a minute and a half scrolling through Netflix's original programming, trying to find WWE Unreal. We just could not find it on there. And then we did another run, and we went in 2 minutes and 3 seconds, and we got something. The cheat code was Mexico, because you just find luchadors.
You're on to something.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
That's
And
so
then we went
sick.
like a niche route, and Pitts was like, go with like tornadoes because that's a finishing move for somebody. And we were scrolling through stuff, and we got to something with wrestling in like 3 minutes and 41 seconds from going from natural disasters and tornadoes from planet Earth.
That is wild.
It was so fun. I like, my adrenaline was through the roof. I was like, I just
I
want
mean,
to keep doing these.
Lacrosse could get there pretty quick using that, like natural disasters. Yeah. Calling it a twister. There. There. Swim dodge. There. Like, so fast.
It was so fun. So let us know any original content you'd want to see on the OTB channel, as well as the college show, original interviews, original content. We're working on some stuff. Deej is going to be getting some new mics that I just ordered too. I was going to pull a page from Casey and Owen's book on Underground Circuit, where we're watching games. We just film ourselves, and then we splice them together, and boom, you get reaction videos to crazy stuff, NLL, PLL. We got some ideas, though. We're cooking with gas here. But Deej, how we living, my good friend?
I'm doing great, honestly. First week of high school practice in the books this week. And to preface, Jesse, we didn't play DeWitt because we weren't going to be in a space to play all this year. I had 14 guys on my roster last year, and 10 of them were seniors. We have rebuilt that team up to 16 guys this year, but 12 of them are first years who have never touched a lacrosse stick before. So we are
start somewhere.
We have to start somewhere, but honestly, this first week has been great. Some of the things that we're doing already, they're picking up pretty quickly on that my team last year struggled with sometimes. And this team's a lot more coachable. I can tell them something, explain it, and then they're going to try and do exactly what I said or did, versus like having to like go back and forth with the guys who feel like they're too good for some of the stuff we were doing. So I really like where this team is going. This first year is going to be rough, but the next couple of years I'm really excited for. Michigan basketball has me over the moon excited. So like I really can't complain. I think I don't want to complain. Calgary won last week, which I didn't pick them to do, but man, was it a game. Facts. I might have to get back on that. But yeah, I'm feeling good, especially with high school lacrosse getting started back up. That's one of the pinnacles of the year for me.
100%. I saved this for the pod because I wanted your reaction. It was a great weekend down at Champ Series. I'm also going to have you check the recording chat because I was just looking at the settings, and I think your microphone is coming through your webcam like it always does.
Let me check real quick.
I was like listening to you talk, and I was like, it's very like.
Well, we might have to stop then.
As we were saying, and now everybody can hear Deej properly and not sound like he's in a fishbowl. I saved this for the pod because it blew my mind when I was down at Champ Series, which we are going to start with Champ Series talk, like we said at the top. PLL and WLL staff are 1,000% listening to this show because anytime, and it could be anybody. It could be people we've known for a long time. It could be people that we just met. Anytime I saw somebody for the first time on a given day, Deej, do you know what the first thing those people said to me was?
No.
How we living?
Oh, dang. I thought you were going to say they asked about me.
Well, that was also the case because everyone was like, is Deej coming down? Is Deej coming down? And I was like, well, but no. Every single time, PLL, WLL, and play, how we living, KB? How we living? I was like, you guys are just, you're telling on yourselves.
Facts. Y'all are telling real hard.
I was like, oh, it's catching on. Let's go.
Yes, this is what we have been waiting on.
Like, shout out to Nat. Let's go.
Now we just need them to call in and use it.
How we live in hotline, speakpipe.com/@OTBLax, or no, just /OTBLaxpod. It's in the link. It's linked in the description. Leave a voicemail. Yeah, shout out to Nat. That was a me and Nat original right there. That is now caught on. Everyone, like, anytime I see Stelios, how we living, bro? It's great.
I love this, dude.
Danny, anytime I saw Danny, boo, how we living? Danny Passavoy, how we living? It was great. I was like, this is impeccable. I was like,
Does
this
that
is how
mean
you know we're real influencers.
As one Greg from Everybody Hates Chris would say, dude, we're so in there.
We are in there like swimwear, my friend. Champ Series was a vibe, man. It was so fun. Like, just the environment. It was a blast. I got to finally meet our guy, Dr. Thomas Walters.
Oh, nice.
Got to see him. He was rocking the Max Krevsky jersey because Max Krevsky wears his favorite number. I was like, that's just elite. 48.
I was thinking, like, whose favorite number is 48?
I was like, I dig that.
I'm just trying to find a reason why your favorite number would be 48.
I was like, that's sick. Krevsky jersey, full send. Madison Doucette's dad has been liking all of our tweets with the WLL. And I told Madison that after the press conference. She was like, that's hysterical because that's the only social media he has.
No way.
He only has Twitter.
That's perfect. If I could only have Twitter, I absolutely would.
And I knew there was a reason I liked Madison Doucette, and I didn't realize until Jordy put it out there during Champ Series. Philly. She's from Philly.
She's from Philly. That makes sense.
Both championship goalies from Philly. Just built different. Jordy's takeaway. Just recruit from Philly more. I was like, yes, sir.
I mean, he ain't wrong. He ain't wrong, per se. The Philly boys and girls be Phillying.
It was great. And just seeing her, like, it was like the perfect, like, I can't wait for the summer because seeing everybody and just being around, like, people who, like, really treat us well and, like, care about what we do and accommodate us in ways that, like, they don't have to, but they do, was really awesome. Seeing players that, you know, get down with us and, like, just running into them in the hallways of the St. James and clapping them up, like seeing Brooksy now officially knows about the Brooksy rule, by the way.
Yeah, you were telling me.
He knows. He gave us some insight too that every time he's been up for a coaching job, he's been on vacation or on his way back from vacation, which is just like hysterical. So I guess Brooksy's not going on any more vacations. Otherwise, he's going to be up for a new job.
So does this mean he's going to stop going on vacations, or does this mean he's just going to turn down jobs?
Right. He's leaving his phone in the hotel.
Location off.
But yeah, it was sick. And I mean, we'll start with WLL. Like, I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. I bring it up to everybody when I'm down there. We talk about it. Women's sixes is my favorite version of the women's game. We talked about it a little bit last week after watching the games from home. Just being there in person and watching those games, man, it is the best, most, like, pure form. And I know I'm going to be excited for 10v10 this summer too. But holy fuck, do I love sixes for women. It's just so fluid. There's no stopping. They were not afraid to get physical. Coaches too. We'll talk about that. It's just the best version of the women's game. And, like, it's so fun. And those women are so fucking athletic. Like, I was watching one of the New York Charging games with CFO, and she was like, look at Izzy Scane's leg muscles. She was like, when she just moves forward, you see, like, every muscle just, like, flex in her leg. And it's crazy, like, how, like, just muscular their legs are and how they're able to get up and down the field. And I was like, yeah, it's wild watching all of them. Like, no matter the stature, just watching, like, the way that they cut and move. Like, every woman that was on that field this weekend, some of the most athletic humans I've ever seen in my life.
Facts. But before we even get into that, shout out Mama Scane. Mama Scane.
Yes.
Mama Scane followed me on Twitter. I just want to put that me.
Yes.
Not the pod, not KB.
She been following them.
I know how famous they are, but when I get a follow, it's
big time.
It hits different. That makes them a real supporter.
Yes.
Once they dig deep enough to find out that I'm involved and they press the follow on me, they're a real OTB sicko.
Mama Scane is not gonna be prepared for these Michigan NCAA tournament tweets.
Man, what? She's gonna be like, what is happening? Is he okay? She might even tweet at me like, is everything all right over there? No, it's not. Either I'm extremely happy or I'm extremely upset. There's no middle of the road.
I said it from the jump. You all know we are an Izzy Scane Stan podcast, and we have been
train
from the jump. But I mean, maybe Mama Scane is ready for those tweets, Steve, because Izzy's from Michigan.
She is. So, they are from Michigan.
She might just jump in the party with you.
They might very well be Michigan fans because they're they're from the Detroit area.
Yeah,
so,
Izzy's hometown's Clarkston, Michigan.
Yeah, which is actually a very big lacrosse town up here. Their boys team won state championships, which is like a big deal.
Yeah,
because we have a ton of private schools up here that just win all our state championships. So when a public school goes and wins it, it's a huge deal. They've done it a few times. Big lacrosse area over there. And then she went and played at Northwestern, which I think I'm going to that doubleheader on the 4th. That's in Chicago. I know women's Northwestern plays. I can't remember who they play. And then Richmond and Notre Dame are that same day on April 4th. So I'm leaning toward going to that game.
That'd be sick. Yeah. We're like the biggest Mama Scane and Scane family stands. Like, plus Izzy's brother plays at Penn. Izzy, when she came on the show, which you'll hear that interview on this episode, she was like, "Yeah, we love Philly now." I was like, "Yes, covering all bases." Izzy's
we're there.
She's the best, and like, dude, just being around the women's teams, like they're all just so personable. And that was one thing CFO took away too. She was like, all of them are just like so, like they're happy to be there, and there's no like, they don't like turn their mojo off. Like they're very always on and like always like personable and approachable. And it was every team, win, lose or draw. Like it was just like very cool seeing like how much they all care. Like in the Maryland Charm press conference after they got eliminated, seeing how much Allie Kennedy cared and like it brought her to tears from a question I asked her, which was not my intention. So I apologize to the Charm. Like they got emotional thinking about like how they didn't accomplish their goal, but they know that like this is just the beginning for their team. And like, this is just the start of what they're trying to do. Like Kaylee Waters and Allie Kennedy were both very like guard down. Like this is what we're here to do. We're just getting started. Emily Paris, I think, is one hell of a coach. And you think about their team, they were like the newest team. Like they had the most new faces, newest players on the team, a lot of turnover from last year's Champ Series. They're going to be really fun. I'm a huge Allie Kennedy fan. She fucking rules. I'm excited to watch her in a full season. But like just every player, like from all the teams, and like whether you were new or you were returning, like this summer, dude, this spring, my goal was to get as many of the WLL players on the show because they are so conversational and are just open and willing to talk ball and willing to talk about just like whatever. Like Sam Geiersbach, huge fan. Allie Mastriani, we've always been fans of Allie. She's the best. Izzy, the GOAT, like coming on the show. Meg Carney, amazing. First WLL player ever on OTB. Obviously Charlotte, like all of those teams are just filled with so many personal players. And that's like my biggest takeaway watching the WLL is like, they are just so grateful for the opportunity. And it doesn't matter if you're the best player on the team or you're, the last player added to the roster. They are just so like locked in and like thankful for the opportunity that the WLL is presenting to them.
And I also think they kind of understand a little bit more the the power of like social media and how it can help the game grow. And like, they understand that like they have to be out in front of people for the WLL to catch fire and for people to be interested. So like, they want to come out and talk about it as much. They want to show who they are as people outside of the field. Like, I think sometimes, I shouldn't say sometimes, I think with the PLL, you have your guys that are very conversationalist, very social media, very out and about. I think it's almost like 50-50, where like half the league is like super into that, and the other half of the league like wouldn't exist outside of the field if they could. Like, they very much just want to play lacrosse and go home, which is okay too. Like, everybody doesn't have to be front facing, but I believe the WLL is a little more front facing than the PLL, and a lot more of their players want to be out and about in the media and such to grow the game in terms of just really just the women's side, not, you know, lacrosse as a whole, which that will help build lacrosse as a whole, but they understand what they mean to other young girls, to other women playing lacrosse and other people interested in lacrosse. They understand they have a huge opportunity in front of them, and they want to grasp every chance to blow this game up. That's one thing I very much enjoy about every part of the WLL is they play hard because they understand what it looks like, how it feels. They want to share everything they can about it. They want to be out in front. They're always sharing and talking and doing stuff on social media. They just understand the power of getting the word out there in multiple avenues other than just playing.
Mm-hmm. And it's cool, like, from last year to this year, where, like, you know, I brought it up to a bunch of the players and some coaches too, where it was like last year was such a limbo state for the WLL because there was no season after Champ Series. Now there is, and there's more to build off of and build upon from this Champ Series. And like, you even look at just the trajectory, like last year, obviously it was Charlotte North Mania, rightfully so. You know, you have that famous picture where it looks like she's like a member of the Beatles walking through the crowd at the St. James. This year, you see, you know, young girls in the crowd. There's a girl in a New York Charging jersey who replicated Madison Doucette's eye black. Like, that to me is awesome, because not only in the women's game, it's so much easier to identify with the players because the women aren't wearing helmets on the field unless you're a goalie. But the fact that you know Madison Doucette's exact eye black paint while she's wearing a helmet tells you everything you need to know about the influence that the WLL players have.
Yeah, like that's next level. Like, it reminds me a lot of a guy you know very, very well, Allen Iverson, and the impact he had on little white kids in Philly.
That one picture that always pops up,
coming out with cornrows and
you got gum wrappers in your teeth,
dude, and those temporary tattoos. They're wearing headbands, wristbands, like everything. They're trying everything they can to look like Allen Iverson, to a point to where they look so much like Allen Iverson that you would be like, you have a white kid? Like, he had, and you can see a lot of women's players having that same effect on players, like you said, down to the eye black, down to them trying to have the same exact stick as that player, trying to wear the same cleats, wanting their teams to wear the same colors as their favorite WL team so that they can look as similar to that player as possible, trying to emulate that player. You see a lot of that in the men's game, but the takeover of that in the women's game has been insane. I even see it here locally in Michigan, like the players trying to learn how to shoot from farther out so they can shoot as hard as Charlotte North. You see players trying to be dominant like Emily Horishuk. Like, they find ways to try and emulate these players, and I think that's, what did they say? What's that saying? Like, imitation is the strongest
sincere form of flattery.
Whatever the fuck it is. But you can see that happening with the WLL game to a T. And that was just one example of that.
Yeah, and I mean, the games were so ultra competitive across the board, and like, it was just such a good product, and I think such a build upon moment from year 1 to year 2 of Champ Series, and like seeing the way that goalie play impacted this Champ Series for the women's side of things was really awesome. And like seeing, you know, Taylor Moreno versus Madison Doucette versus Rachel Hull versus Kaylee Waters, like, you had 4 of the best women's goalie on the planet battling it out in this Champ Series. You had some games that were high scoring, you had some really close games, and I mean, like, even looking at the championship, like going into it, Izzy Scane had 13 scoring points going into the championship. Charlotte North finished play with 22. Izzy finished 3 points off of Charlotte for the Golden Stick because she put up a 6-piece in the championship game. Like that's the fun of women's sixes, I think, in particular. Yes, you get it in the men's side too a lot, but like the fact that Izzy was that far back, and her and Emily Harris-Chuck ended up tied in scoring points and just 3 points off of Charlotte North, who, mind you, had 4 twos to pad that. Like if Charlotte doesn't rip any of those twos, Izzy and Emily are sharing the Golden Stick honors. That's crazy to think about.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's that quick, though, right? Like, you can see the space created in the up and down. There's a lot more space for them to get shots off. Whereas in the traditional 11v11 or 10v10, it's a little more cramped, and they're not able to create the opportunities that they were in Champ Series. It seems like in Champ Series, there were opportunities upon opportunities upon opportunities for them, more so than what you see in a regular game, which that is what I think is most exciting about it is, like you said, somebody can go from 10 points and then have a crazy game and end up with 20 just because of the amount of opportunities they're given. And then a couple of them do have the range to hit from 2. That changes the game a ton. I think they like the fact that the 2 is there, and it's something that a wrinkle that they can add to their game as well. I think Champ Series for them is literally just fun. Like, yes, it's competition, but it's a new version of competition that is not the same as their traditional game, that creates more fun for them because they're scoring more goals. And then a lot of them even pointed out how fun it is to play defense, and how
included,
and how rewarding it is to go down, make a stop, and then have an opportunity to score on the other end. Like, I think maybe that was always the most exciting thing for me playing, but I think that came from basketball. Because in basketball, everybody knows you play both sides of the ball. So you make a good play on defense, you run the floor. 9 times out of 10, your teammates are going to look for you and give you an opportunity to score. You get a lot of that in Champ Series as well. And some of the offensive players that don't play as much defense were excited to get down and have those opportunities and take advantage of them.
Yeah, I mean, just like getting to know some of the newer players this week too, and kind of just like peeling back the layers of getting to know some players that we saw last year and just seeing their growth and evolution too. And like Sam Geiersbach, like I'm such a huge fan. And I said that on this show this time last year when Champ Series ended, like I was a huge fan of hers coming out of last Champ Series. Like she's the fucking coolest. Michigan's own Jill Smith popped off this Champ Series. I thought she was phenomenal and put on a great display in her debut for the Palms. Like, you want to know who, like, absolute sicko? Erin Kuykendall is a sicko in the best way possible, everybody, because she would get, wrapped up, she'd get fouled, but she would come back out just like junkyard dog face, ready to rock and roll, and it was just awesome. She's such a sicko, and I love it. Just like every team has their own, and that's the cool part right now too with the WLL. Like PLL, a lot of these teams have their identities, which is awesome. That we're going into year 8, and these teams have kind of a mantra, an identity about them, a feel, a culture. WLL is just getting started with that, and you're starting to see pieces of it kind of come together, and that's the fun part about like new additions or new sports leagues in general. It's like you get to rediscover why you're a sports fan, and the WLL is doing a lot of that for me. I don't know if it is for you, but it's just like a neutral party where there's no Philly team, there's none of that where I'm like covering it on multiple entities to kind of get people introduced to lacrosse, but just from a women's sports perspective and just being in that neutral state again, like we were in 2019 with the PLL. It's so fun just watching these teams kind of like discover themselves. And I think that's like the purest form of sports fandom, is like just enjoying a team, like really discovering what they're all about and what they want to do and what they want to accomplish as a franchise. And we're at the ground floor of that with the WLL, and it's only going to get bigger and better.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. And it's always exciting being able to see where you started and then watch where you grow. I think for some men's players, it's a little bit harder for that. Some of them were coming over from the MLL. Some of them remember watching the MLL growing up. Some of them are kind of like, well, we still haven't really gone anywhere because we're still kind of in the same space that lacrosse has always been. Whereas women's, as far as I know, the start was like the WPLL and like Unleash and Athletes Unlimited and everything. So it's like,
which all felt like so start and stall.
And a lot of them aren't even around anymore. So now it's like they have a chance to see basically from the bare bones beginning what their work is doing and how it's evolving and creating more space for lacrosse and for young girls to get into lacrosse. That I think is special. You don't really get a chance to do that as a professional athlete in this time period. You know, sure, it happened way back when these leagues were first developed, but we weren't around for that. So to see that in this time period and then also to be a part of that, it's a totally different feeling.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, you just look at the games, you look at the parity that was this champ series, like started off the round robin, you know, portion of things in week 1, an 11-10 game, 22 to 15, 18 to 12, 20 to 11. The Palms were in the driver's seat, and then the break happened and New York came out 16 to 11, beat them in the first game back in the first game of the second week. Boston just went belt to ass against Maryland 26 to 19. Semifinal happens. New York continue to get revenge from last year, and they beat Boston 16-13. And then New York just went on a tear in that championship and beat California 18 to 11. That third quarter determined everything. And it's just like, I don't even really blame California really for anything in that game. It was just Madison Doucette was standing on her head, and they turned it into offense damn near every time. And it almost felt like, you know, a bunch of players from California were trying to find their 2-point shot, and it just wasn't dropping simply because you're running into arguably the best goalie on the planet that you have to play against, because I think everyone on the Palms would say Taylor Moreno is the best goalie on the planet, and I wouldn't debate them. She's phenomenal. But New York just put on a show, and I think the experience factor played a big part in New York winning the WLL Champ Series championship. They were there last year. They knew that sting of falling to Boston. They knew that they had that game in the grips of their hands, and they let it slide by, and they didn't want to experience that feeling again. And most of those players that were on that team last year were back on this roster, from Izzy to Meg Carney, Madison, Emily Harris-Chuck. Like, they had people who knew that sting of losing, and they didn't want to experience that again. And when you're the California Palms, you have a brand new coach. You have a lot of new players on your team. Sure, there were players that were on that roster last year too, but I think New York just had a mindset of like, we are not, if we get a chance to play for a championship, we're not squandering that opportunity again.
Yeah, and I mean, when you lose a game like they lost last year, you remember it, right? And I think the opposite can be said for the Guard this year, who didn't have a great championship series this year after winning it last year. I think this one sits a little bit differently in their pits, in the pits of their stomach, than last year did. You know, and New York came out on a mission. You could see it even in their round robin games. They wanted to be in the championship game. They wanted to make it as easy as possible for them to get in the championship game. I think that they would take back a few plays from that first loss that they had during round robin.
Loss.
Right, that was their only loss, which is why I said I think they would take a few plays back to have that one seed and just lock themselves in the championship game, knowing that would be the only game they would have to win. But then, in the same token, knowing how they needed to play in that last round robin game before getting into the semis, I think also boosted them again. They were like, look, our backs are against the wall. We lose today, there is no chance. There possibly is no chance for us to get back to where we were last year and to avenge ourselves. And please. And then also they're in a position where they know exactly what they have to do to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's huge for them. And they played fantastic. They stepped up to the plate, and they ultimately ended up winning like I said they would. Oh, but you look at that.
Same.
I kind of know
even though we both felt good about California last week when we recorded and said, oh, California's like, they could go win it all. Initially, we both said New York, California was going to be the final. We both had New York winning it, and they did that. It's easy to get reactionary and bring it up, but then that's why we didn't do picks for championship, because anything can change on a dime. And that was how we felt after week 1. Was California found their stride. They were scoring 20 points a game, but when it's all said and done, New York had the firepower offensively. They played great defense. Madison Doucette was phenomenal. That's why she was all tournament team. Kendall Halpern, who got tackled by Maddie Buss, was phenomenal defensively as well. And they just played overall. And I think that's the big thing with sixes and with Champ Series. You got to play team lacrosse. If you don't play team lacrosse in a format like that, your ass is grass. And I thought New York, top to bottom, damn near every single time they stepped on that field, they played team lacrosse, and that's why they ended up winning.
Yeah, all it really comes down to is wanting to win, going out and proving you can win, and doing it alongside your teammates. They played great team ball, and they wanted to win for the woman next to them, and it ended up showing up big time, and they came out with a victory, a well-deserved and well-earned victory.
And I thought it was really cool, the semifinal game and the championship, Izzy Scane met a young girl named Taylor from the Lacrosse Out Cancer foundation that the PLL and WLL work with. And Taylor was lined up with Izzy pregame, like during the national anthem and everything, for the semifinals. And then the championship happens, and she's up on stage celebrating with the New York Charging. I loved Madison Doucette's attention to detail, signaling to Taylor's mom, asking if it was okay for her to get splashed with, champagne and sparkling water. Like, to me, that just shows like the care too, because it's somebody they're dealing, they're going through cancer treatment. They're going through something that none of us want to ever have to experience. So for Madison to have the wherewithal to be like, hey, is this okay? Like, is this going to affect anything? I think is just such a heads up and awesome attention to detail. I asked Izzy about Taylor in the press conference. It got her really choked up, and she was like, I don't want to make it out to seem like, this is like she's my best friend, but like we met 3 days ago, and I absolutely love that kid. And to show the impact that she was like, it kind of grounds you, and it reminds you that there's a lot bigger things going on in the world than just a lacrosse game. And to see the New York Charging kind of embrace somebody like that, I thought that was kind of the extra oomph too that they needed to kind of get over the hump, and they were almost playing for something bigger than just winning the Champ Series. And it was really cool to see Taylor in the championship photos, and having the trophy around her, getting splashed with champagne, and celebrating with all the New York Charging players and coaches. I thought that was a really, really cool, like, cherry on top moment for all of them to kind of be like, yeah, we're playing for something more.
That's like so sick. Imagine being Taylor.
Living your best life. Like, like, I feel like, not that I want to speak for her, but it almost feels like it just removes you from the day-to-day of what she's been going through. And like, I get to be, I get to celebrate as a champion with someone I look up to in Izzy Scane and this New York Charging team. Like, I get to be on the mountaintop with a championship with these guys.
Got to be the best day of her life. Well, one of, I won't say the best, but easily one of. Like, it would be for me. That's like the power of sports, the power of being an athlete, and also understanding that power that you have and running with it. I think that goes back to that point I was talking about, them being front facing and like out in the world and in the media. Like, they understand the power they have and what things like this can do for not only themselves, but just the sport in general.
Yeah. So, just want to say we are a hashtag Tough Like Taylor podcast. Shout out to Taylor. Shout out to Taylor's family. It was really cool. to see all of that. I looking at this New York Charging team too, Deej, like they're just so fun. I know we talked about all the players, but just like from Izzy to Meg Carney, Sam Smith, Emily Harris-Chuck, Madison Doucette, Kendall Halper, and Aaron Kuykendall, like they're just a fun group. Like Izzy's in the press conference calling out Meg Carney saying, "Can't wait to be at your wedding. We're going to be at the after party." She was like, "Is this live? This is live, so it's documented." Like they are just like they're so fucking fun.
Dude, that's what I like.
They are
Fun
vibes.
people. Yeah. We're a what and what podcast?
Let them know.
We're a Vibes and Smiles podcast. Y'all already know. I had to tell my so as a lot of you know, my lacrosse team that I coach for high school is my old high school and my rival high school combined. So I work for my old high school doing sports broadcasting. And my AD from my old high school was talking to me about this season, and I told them like, because we're finally getting to play games at my old high school because they have turf now, and he's like, oh, like we're not gonna have any fights or anything like that. And I'm like, nah, all my troublemaker hothead players are gone. They all moved on. This team's a lot more, calm and stuff. He's like, well, is my hothead coach gone? And I said, oh yeah, this is nothing but vibes and smiles over here. I don't even do all that no more. I had to let him know what it is. We are a Vibes and Smiles podcast, Vibes and Smiles coaching, Vibes and Smiles everything, because that gives you the best possible chance to have success. Vibes and Smiles, baby.
That's so funny. But yeah, like I'm just all in on the WLL, man. I love the product. I love the players. I love the coaches. Like it's just if you're not into the WLL yet for whatever reason, you're missing out on like really like ground floor of something really special in lacrosse that we haven't seen since year one of the PLL. And it's just only going to continue to get better and better, especially when we get to the full 8 teams to complement each of the PLL teams that are in the league. And I'm excited for when that comes around. But it was just such a fun experience. And this Champ Series brought us our very first 2 WLL players on the pod. And it's about damn time we got Izzy on the show. Izzy Scane on the pod. Meg Carney, all you OTB sickos out there that'll be wondering in 10 years from now, who was the first WLL player on the pod? It's Meg Carney. We need to have both of them on regularly. I got to talk to Rachel DeCecco. I got to hit her up, my Philly confidant, and be like, Rachel, what do we got to do to get Meg and Izzy on the show like regularly during the season? Because not only were they so insightful, it was just good conversation between the two. Like I love when our interviews, Deej. I hate when we even call them interviews, because 99% of the time it's literally us just having a conversation with somebody that we just have hella respect for. And that's what it felt like. And this was the first time I've ever really met Izzy and Meg in person. Like, obviously, we've had interactions with Izzy on social media, obviously with Izzy's mom as well. But first time in person, it felt like we've known each other for like a decade. It was awesome. And just the flow of the conversation was great. The answers they gave to everything I asked them were awesome. So we'll hear from them in a little bit too. But that's my goal this season too, is, I know I said it, to get as many WLL players on the show, because they're just so willing to talk. And it's just something I want to integrate more on this show, because the WLL is here. It's not fucking going anywhere. And I love that. And we're covering the WLL just like we do the NLL, just like we do the PLL, just like you and Hoots do the college game. We're full send into the WLL. Like, I'm going to be trying to hit up close to the draft, Kylie O'Miller, come on the show. Give me the draft analysis. Like, we're in the trenches with the WLL on this show. So if you don't like it, see you later. How you doing? Keep it moving. But let it be known, we're talking WLL on this show
all year long. All year long.
I couldn't be more excited, dude. Like, I love the PLL. I love the NLL. the feeling I get knowing we're going to be talking about WLL and a full season of WLL just makes me so fucking excited.
Dude, it's going to be hype. I'm interested to see what WLL full season will look like. Like we haven't had that. Like the closest we got was Athletes Unlimited, which was like a lot harder to watch. Not only with timing, but like where it was available to watch and all those things. Like it's right here for us to watch. We know exactly where it's going to be. And what I love most about this is it's integrated right into PLL. Like 9 times out of 10, a lot of young boys are going to find out how cool women's lacrosse really is. Because if they're already there for a PLL game, why leave for the WLL game? You paid for it, basically. They're not kicking you out. They're not making you get another ticket. So stay, watch, and let them showcase what makes their game so exciting. Let them showcase why you should be interested in their game. I'm actually really intrigued for the growth of the game and respect for the game from the male perspective. I think a lot more men, young boys, and players / fans of lacrosse will really get a glimpse and view of what women's lacrosse can really be.
5 out of the first 6 weeks of the season this year for PLL weekends will include a WLL game. Rhode Island is opening weekend, New York versus Boston, Maryland, California versus Maryland, Charlotte will be Boston versus California, Long Island is Maryland versus New York, San Diego, New York versus California for a rematch of the championship of Champ Series. And then we get All-Star, and then Chicago, Maryland versus New York, Fairfield, Boston versus Maryland, and then WLL is off until Boston. Those are their 2 bye weeks in July and early August, and then it's California versus Boston, and then boom, championship game in Philly.
Damn. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that champ game already. We have been talking about it so much, and then all of this happened, and it just went right over my head. Completely forgot about it. But there's tons of action for the WLL. It's going to be exciting. They're all going to be great games. I'm not going to tell you if you're available. Find a way to be available. Clear your schedule to watch some of these games. Create that space, and you will not be disappointed. If the Champ Series didn't show you that, I don't know how else to show you that other than to threaten you, and I really don't want to do that.
The best part about the WLL season 2 is it's going to be 10v10. There's going to be more players added to rosters. So we're going to get even more personality and like more like energy and culture to build upon with these teams. And it's only going to make for a better product moving forward. And that's the exciting thing. And I brought this up to a couple of people too. Everyone likes to talk about expansion, this, that, and the third with the PLL. Dude, I think WLL gets expansion before the PLL.
Yes.
I think
or they're going to either it comes first or they're going to come at the exact same time.
Because my guess here is we go to 6 in the WLL. First, we get 2 expansion teams, whatever that may be. And then the next expansion brings the PLL to 10 and WLL to 8. Unless they go full 8 with the first WLL expansion and get every PLL team a WLL team. But then I think PLL expansion goes year after Olympics because everyone will be talking about it. Because before we talked about, I think it'll be during the Olympic year because I think it's going to be the year after for 2 reasons. We'll have had the Olympics in lacrosse in the Olympics, and 2029 Deej is season 10 of the PLL. It's 10-year anniversary.
You're right. It is. Damn.
Like this will be year 8. Like 2028 will be season 10, but 10 years will be 2029.
I feel old, man.
Yeah, what up, Unc?
That kind of stuff to me, bro.
But Champ Series was awesome for the women, and I loved every second. I'm a huge Charlie Leonard guy. I think he's an awesome coach, and I said this too to a bunch of people when we were there. He's obviously the assistant coach for the New York Charging. When WLL expands, if he wants to, he's going to have the pick of the litter to be a head coach for any of those teams. He's an awesome coach, and I love that he pulled a page out of Sino's book and was punching lockers.
Punching lockers is hilarious.
He was punching lockers to fire them up. And I love that the charging, they referred to the Atlas as the boy charging. They were like, that's the boy charging.
That's so funny.
It's great.
I need all the other teams to hop on that. Oh, the whip snakes are just the boy charm. Redwoods are just the boy palms. And then we got the boy guard up in Boston. So do you think all WL teams will be accompanied by a PLL team?
Yes.
Like, so as they expand, they will only be expanding to PLL cities?
I think so.
Which would also make sense for the PLL to expand in front of, or continue to expand as the WLL is expanding, because then it pretty much creates a cycle where it's like, okay, these two cities were added for PLL. We can expect them to be coming to the WLL in the next 4-ish, 8-ish years kind of thing.
And Paul talked about this at end of year awards, like when individualized owners come into play. Or no, it might have been his chat with Kark at the draft that they aired at the All-Star break. That's what it was, actually. When individualized owners come into play, it's a much more tantalizing thing to say, hey, here, you get two entities. Like, you're getting a men's and women's team to purchase and be the owner of versus just the one PLL team.
Mm-hmm. And I think that is going to make, more individual owners want to invest, because like you said, you're getting two entities, which means essentially you're getting 2 for 1. So it's a better buy for you. The way I see it is like when I go get Mountain Dew, it's cheaper for me to buy 2 because they're 2 for rather than just getting 1. Or I shouldn't say cheaper. It's a better deal.
Right.
Because they're chopping off some money. And essentially you're going and saying, hey, we want to invest in said city for a sports team, but you're going to get 2 lacrosse teams for that said city to help grow.
Yeah, I think it's going to grow that way. I think they're going to grow symbiotically, which is a smart way for the PLL and WLL to continue to grow. And it's only going to be cooler as each league expands and we get more teams, get more players and coaches and kind of, build out more rivalries. Like you have New York and Boston, like that rivalry, I think already exists in the WLL. You got a kind of cross country rivalry now a little bit with California and New York from the championship and everything that transpired with Matty Buss kind of tackling Kendall Halpern there. Which, let me just be the first to say, I think a lot of people overreacted to that moment.
Yes.
While it's like, and Matty Buss said that I can't go on the field. I can't touch a player. Like she openly admitted that, which 100% true. You watch what happened. She was 1000% trying to grab Jill because it looked like Jill was about to get hit in the head. And she was almost like jumping on the sword for Jill and was going to take the hit rather than Jill taking it. And Jill kind of spun out of the way by the time Maddie went to go grab her, and it wound up with her like falling on Kendall.
That's not necessarily what I saw. I'm not just like discrediting that. May have absolutely have been a view. What I saw really was more so her trying to stop things. Like the whistles.
And that's what she said too.
The whistles were being blown. She saw she got hit in the head. She was just trying to like diffuse it really quickly so they could get everything sorted out and then get back playing. It just so happened that the force she came in with caused the player to fall. As she said, she probably should have just stayed back, not been on the field, not touched the player at all or anything. But then again, when it's happening right next to you, it's hard not to just jump and do something. It's hard not to take that initiative. She also was a player at one point.
Right.
As a teammate, that's the first thing you do is go and defend your teammate. And as a coach that defends his players to the upteenth power, I totally understand where she's coming from. Like,
and that's what Sam Geiersbach said too.
As a lot of our faithful fans know, me and Gary have almost gone to blows over my players. So I definitely understand where she's coming from in that notion of wanting to protect and it kind of just getting a tad too far.
Yeah, and Sam Geiersbach said the same thing. Like, she said she can't go on the field, but it proved that like she is ready to like defend us and makes us want to play for her that much more.
When you have a coach that has your back 100%, regardless of what's going on, you want to do anything for them. Like the epitome of I'll run through a brick wall. Like that is what I think of when I see something like that. It's like every single one of those players will line up and blindlessly run right into a brick wall, knowing they're not going to get through it. But because she asked them to, or she told them to, they're going to do it. Because 100%. They know that if it was the other way around and they needed her to step up for them, she's going to do it.
Yeah. I even like being able to talk to her in person. Like, I'm a huge Maddie Buss fan. Like, she's awesome. Love the energy the Palms bring. And I think they're going to be back with a vengeance. My last bit here on Champ Series before we cut to our interviews with Meg Carney and Izzy Scane. I don't know how you feel about this. I was talking to a couple people about it. I think it's a good thing that the Boston Guard, in particular Charlotte North, is facing a little adversity after this Champ Series. I think it's good for Charlotte, the person, good for Charlotte, the player, because, you know, we were talking in our group chat a little bit too about the broadcast and them always kind of comparing her to Paul, where they're not really allowing the full breadth of letting Charlotte just be Charlotte. Like, you're comparing her to a men's player who is widely regarded as, you know, one of the GOATs, if not, and for some people, the GOAT. You know what I mean? Like, let Charlotte be her own player. Mm-hmm. So I think Charlotte almost like is very hard on herself because she has that stigma against her, for lack of a better term. And it's not a bad thing. Like, being compared to Paul Rabel is awesome. But Charlotte North is also Charlotte North. But I also think Charlotte has been like on top of the mountain for so long, from college to winning the Champ Series last year and them grinding out to get the win. I think this is going to be a good thing for her in her career that they went 0-2. They had to battle back against Maryland to win. They end up losing in the semifinal. Like, and you know, she has to go up there and get the golden stick as New York's celebrating. You know, that's their biggest rival now. Like, I think that's a good thing for not only Charlotte, but for the WLL as a league, to know that your face, and arguably face of the sport, has to handle a little adversity. And how does Charlotte step up to the bell and ring it going into the full season? I think it's so good for her. And I feel like so many people are afraid to talk about that, but I'm not. I think it's a good thing that Charlotte lost a few games, found a way to battle back with her teammates and play team lacrosse in that final game to send them to the semifinals, and then ended up losing to the team that is regarded as Boston's biggest rival right now in the WLL, the team that they beat in the championship last year. And then Charlotte had to go accept the golden stick on stage while they're celebrating a championship. I think that's only going to be a positive thing for Charlotte.
I don't think anybody's quote unquote afraid to dive into that. I just don't think they want to, per se. I think they'd rather just focus on the positive part of things. Whereas, like, this is still a positive too. Like, I think when you can see a player of her caliber take an L and kind of be on the wrong side of things and see how they respond to that, it teaches a lot of younger players how to do the same. It teaches them that losing a championship game or losing a semifinal or losing in general isn't as big of a deal as we think it is. Not saying that losing isn't a big deal, because it is. We all hate losing. Like, that's just the nature of us as humans and being competitive. But it doesn't mean that it's the end of your world. It doesn't
how you respond to it.
It doesn't mean that that's all you have to focus on for the time being. It just means that you have to come out and be better next time. And I think this is a great opportunity for Charlotte to show. Honestly, I think she showed that really in that last round robin game. Mm-hmm. Their first two round robin games were terrible. And then they come out and they were absolutely basically dominant in that last one. And then they played very good ball in that semifinal and just couldn't come out on top. Like, that in it alone, those two games showed, like, hey, you can start any kind of way, but how do you finish? How do you respond? How do you bounce back? How do you the best way to put it is kind of like boxing. Okay, you know, you came out the first few rounds, you got punched in the mouth. Are you going to keep getting punched in the mouth, or are you going to put your guard up and then decide to punch back? Whew. Unintentional pun there. But that's the whole point, is like, can you see that adversity and then look it dead in the eye and say, you're not going to control me, and respond to it? I think a lot of kids can benefit from seeing her do something like that. And then the other point you made, which was basically a point I threw out there first, like, she has to be able to be her own person. She has to be able to be Charlotte North for women,
which I think you and I both agree she does.
Mm-hmm.
It's just everyone else has to allow her to
do it. Yes,
which I get. You're trying to compare so people understand, like, this is where everything is. I get that, but also you have to be like, she is her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's the one right now. Like, she's doing things at a different clip than most. And obviously there's other people that are rising to that. Izzy, Meg Carney, Madison Doucette, Rachel Hall, Allie Masher. Like, there's a collective, there. But obviously Charlotte is going to be the focus because she did it so consistently at the college level too, and was on that pedestal and was like in the limelight. But you have to let her be Charlotte North. She's not the women's Paul Rabel. She's Charlotte North. Like, there's a difference.
A clear difference and distinction. And I just want people to put that respect on that. That's really all I'm saying. And that is, like, there's nothing wrong with making the comparison and getting people to understand the heights of what she's done for the women's game. But don't do it so often. And don't do it beyond that. And saying, hey, she helped grow the game for women in a similar vein that Paul did for men. And that's the end of that conversation. After that, it should be nothing but Charlotte, 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 Charlotte. Plain and simple.
Like, we're not out here, like, comparing, just as an example, we're not comparing Caitlin Clark to LeBron.
Hello.
Like, that's essentially what comparing Charlotte to Paul is.
Yes.
Two completely different players, two players who are changing the game for their respective, discipline of the sport. But they're two completely different people, two completely different players. Let them be that.
Let them stand alone and let them showcase who they are as individuals.
It's simple. But I do like that. And this is not me rooting against Charlotte. I don't want anybody to twist that here, because Charlotte's the fucking best. I like seeing athletes and how they respond to adversity. Look at Tom Brady. To pull another Boston athlete. Look at Tom Brady. Lost a couple of Super Bowls, went out after losing them, boom, wins more. Won a Super Bowl 51. Comes back in one of the most epic fashions we've ever seen in an NFL game against the Atlanta Falcons, 28-3. Very next season, gets outdueled by backup quarterback Nick Foles in the Super Bowl in one of the most entertaining Super Bowls we've ever seen. Team versus team. How does he respond the following year? Boom, goes and wins another Super Bowl. It's how you respond to the adversity, and I think we'd be kidding ourselves to say Charlotte's not going to respond positively and be coming out with her eyes flaming red, ready to run through a wall this full WLL season after losing a championship, like losing status as a champion.
I'm excited to see her come back. It's going to be vicious.
And that's the whole team, dude. That's the whole Boston Guard mentality. They have this desire to be champions, and they lost that opportunity this year. And I think they're all going to respond in a very big way. And it's going to be fun to watch for that team when they play New York, when they play California, when they play Maryland. Like, they're playing with a chip on their shoulder for the first time. And now it's like, how do they respond with that chip on their shoulder? How do they balance things out? Where they don't let that take over. You don't let that emotion, rise too much to the top. How do you balance it out? And I think it's only going to make Charlotte and that whole Boston Guard team that much better as players and as people. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be great, regardless of if they come out, quote unquote, victorious and they win the championship, or if they're going to have a good season. That's what I do know, is they're going to come out and shine, because this will be in the back of their minds. That's what I also think is so cool, is like the chances of somebody not playing this summer off a championship roster for the women is like 0. It's like negative. Like almost all of them are going to be on a regular season roster. So this will be brewing with them for the next couple of months before they're able to get back and kind of, make up for it. And the cool thing is they're going to see the same teams. Like that's the difference with like the men's side. Like some of those players are not playing this summer. Some of those players, and also it's just a different set of rules and gameplay. Just everything is so different from Champ Series for the men's side, where it's like women, it's like, all right, this is a little bit different play wise, but that's the only real difference here. Everything is basically the same, and we're gonna see if you can back up the same thing you just did a few months ago.
100%. So, any final thoughts on WLL Champ Series before we cut to the interviews, Deech?
I had an amazing time watching.
It was fun, man.
And I'm excited for them to get back out and play some more.
It's going to be a blast. So without any further ado, we are going to cut to our conversations with New York Charging's Izzy Scane, Meg Carney. You'll hear from Meg first, the first ever WLL athlete on the Outside the Box podcast, and Izzy Scane, as we are the number one Izzy Scane Stan podcast you've ever done, seen, and heard. And then we'll be back, talk PLL Champ Series, and then you'll hear from a couple more champions, Austin Kaut and Ross Scott. Join me down at Champ Series, and you'll hear from them as well. But here are Meg Carney and Izzy Scane, WLL Champ Series champions from the New York Charging.
All right, everybody, we're here at PLL and WLL Championship Series here at the St. James, and I'm joined by New York Charging's Meg Carney. Meg, we talked last night in the press conference, but that two-pointer, I just went back and watched the highlight, and it's just so sick, the way you just kind of just followed through with it, ripped it, and it's got to be pretty cool to be in such an exclusive club right now in WLL history.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great feeling just to get one. Had one last year, but obviously there was no two-point line. But it was crazy. I got the assist from Madison, our goalie, which, I hope she gets that point in the stat book, as she should. Couldn't have done that without her. She gave me a pass right to my stick. And same thing last year. That was the one I scored, was a pass from her. So, yeah, I mean, couldn't have done it without her, my teammates. And luckily we were up by a few, so I just let it rip.
And, we kind of talked about it, too, where, last year not having the two-point line, but now having it, when you're in game and, you see Emily score hers and then you score yours, just feeling the momentum as a player, how much of a difference is it when you're out on the field kind of just actively playing versus kind of seeing it in the men's game and then kind of seeing Charlotte do her thing with her two-pointers so far? How much of an in-game swing is it mentally for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 points instead of one. So, I mean, right there, you've got an upper hand there. But, yeah, both Emily Harris, Chuck's goals, the two-pointers were just – it gives you that boost, gives you the energy, gives you the confidence as a team, and it's just gets you to that next level and the extra gear that you need, and especially at the end of the game, just to sort of seal that win and run away with a good lead.
What's it been like playing for Charlie Leonard this Champ Series?
Yeah, it's been awesome. He has amazing IQ. He has prepared us for every game, him and Amy, so well. But yeah, no, he's been great to learn from. He always has feedback. He's always got a different way to look at it. So it's just another viewpoint to learn from, which is great. Just as you're playing lacrosse, having different coaches, and you always learn something new from them and just the way they see the game. So he's been awesome, and him and Amy they've been a great package, and they just have really prepared us.
It's a lot of, returners for you guys with some new faces. Who's somebody in this New York Charging locker room that may not get, the publicity of the limelight, but is kind of just the life of the party in the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, Sam Smith was MVP of last night's game. She is a workhorse. She was all over the field last night. She was the first one back on defense. She, I think, played at full speed the entire game. She never slowed down. She was going for every ground ball. She's just that gritty, hard-working player that's going to, play all the way through the final whistle. And she really helped us last night. I mean, she was MVP of last night's game. She's been so awesome to play with. Having her on the draw, there's not many, but those are 4 extra possessions you get, and knowing that she's going to win them, she's pretty automatic out there. So having her on the team has been so fun, and just playing alongside of her, Our team is a lot of Northwestern and Syracuse girls, and we've gone against each other for many years, and so we know each other from opponents and playing on different teams, but now being together and wearing the same jersey as them has been awesome.
I was going to say the Northwestern Syracuse, kind of rivalry that has been born in women's lacrosse in college. Like, it feels like it's just like an alliance that's finally come together, and it's all with the New York charging across your chest.
Yeah, I know. It's been so awesome just to be on the same team as them. We've gone back and forth in college, and Northwestern's always been a hard team for us to play and a great team. They're very well coached, and so having Charlie and Colleen played there, and now all the Northwestern girls on our team, and just being to wear the same jersey has been awesome.
What's it like for you, Syracuse alum, and then being able to rep New York in the pros? What is that feeling like to, have that representation in college, and then professionally you get to continue representing New York?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, I loved my time at Syracuse, and I would not do it any different. That place is very special, and so being able to still rep the state of New York has been awesome. And just the support that the state has showed us from, upstate, Long Island, the city, a lot of the club teams that are just so involved and supportive of us and want to see us do well has been awesome.
And I talked to a couple other players earlier last week, last year, kind of a limbo thing with the WLL. There was no, season after championship series, but now knowing that there's a full season to look forward to after this, and kind of the bonds and relationships you guys have formed over these 2 weeks, how exciting is it to know, like, hey, we get to continue doing this once May hits on the calendar?
Yeah, it's definitely awesome having something to look forward to. I think it's great for the kids out there that, last year we played and then it was over. Now they have something to continue watching, continue following. They can come to the games during the summer. So just having that for them to keep looking up to us, and just having professional players help chase their dreams. So just giving them more lacrosse, and we get to play more lacrosse, and that's all we can ask for. And we're very thankful for what the PLL and WLL have done for us. But yeah, we're super excited. I know last year after Champ Series, it was so sad when we all left, and it's like, I don't know when I'm going to see you guys next.
Right.
I guess in a year. So now it's like, all right, see you guys at training camp, see you in May. But yeah, we're definitely excited.
And for you with sixes, what do you think, how do you think it complements your game in particular, and what are some things you've learned last year, this year from the discipline of sixes that has improved your game?
Yeah, I love sixes so much. Like, I love being able to play defense. As an attacker, you only get to do that when you're riding, really, so not much. But I love being able to go down, play defense, make a stop, and then earn your offense. And I love basketball. I grew up playing basketball, so it's very similar to that and just fast-paced. I think it's very engaging for fans to watch. It gives us a little bit more creativity to show as lacrosse players out there, and so I love it. I think last year to this year, the biggest thing was just, like, it's fast. And it's a grind. We're here for 2 weeks, and you got to dig deep, but it's so fun, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, I'll leave you with this, Meg Carney. You are officially the very first WLL player on the Outside the Box podcast.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
So if you ever need lacrosse trivia in the PLL app or anything, Meg Carney, first WLL player ever on the show.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thanks
for hopping on the show, Meg.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. We're here at WLL PLL Championship Series and joined by our number one mom fan player, Izzy Scane, finally on the Outside the Box podcast. Izzy, it's a blast to have you. Just take me through what, Champ Series has been like for you these past 2 years, and what it's been like kind of being a face of a team and being put out there, marketing-wise, and what that's been like for you at the professional level.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think, it's our first professional season was last year, obviously, and this year we're on year 2, which is really exciting. I think it's been cool to see how the league has evolved since last year. We were obviously also fresh to the sixes format, fresh to being in a professional league, and all the excitement that we had last year was amazing, and to be able to carry that over into this year. And then just personally, I think being able to represent such a cool thing for our sport. I think there's so many little girls that we hear a lot about how we're creating this future for them, and it's their opportunity to play professionally when they grow up. And as someone, when I was growing up playing lacrosse, that was not something I could look up to. It's a really cool thing to be a part of. So any way that I can help try to spread the game, spread the professional league, and just grow the excitement around our sport and this league in particular, I take a lot of pride in that. I'm very excited to be a part of.
How fun has it been, playing for Charlie these past couple weeks, and just having him around and him kind of running the ship for you guys from the coaching perspective?
It's the best. I absolutely loved having him as a coach at Northwestern, and he's a little bit closer to age than me, so he's always someone on the team that we could connect with really, really easily and kind of be that bridge between the coaches and the players, where he was similar to our style and our personalities. And since then, he's just been a really good friend of mine. He's always been a really big supporter of mine, and he'll do anything for the girls on the team. As you can probably tell from any interview you hear from him, he's just so focused on us and focused on making sure we're having a good time and kind of putting our best foot forward. So to be able to be here with him and be able to be coached by him, he's also just a very smart lacrosse mind. I think we see a lot of his personality as just a person, but he really knows what he's doing, and he gives us a good insight that we have a harder time seeing when we're out there just doing the lacrosse piece of it. He does a good job of taking a step back and coaching us, and also bringing the positive energy that he does. So it's been a ball. I absolutely love it.
What do you think you've learned about your game these past 2 years with playing sixes, and what has it kind of added to your bag?
Yeah, definitely. I think as someone who played attack in college for the vast majority of my career, I obviously did midfield a little bit in high school and defense for a year when I was in college. I think it's fun to be in a format where you really have to be a complete player. There's no you can't just be good at one thing. You kind of have to be good at a little bit of everything, and to be a part of a style that really brings out the best of the best full lacrosse players is really cool. So being back on the defensive end has been a blast. I absolutely love it. I take a lot of pride in trying to show that just because I played attack in college, and I know all attackers kind of have that mindset of we don't want to be the one that they beat one-on-one, because we have a lot of pride in what we do. So it's fun to be on that end, learn from the defenders that played in college, and then see them translate on the offensive end. So it's really cool. It's a fun format to kind of see what players can do on all sides of the field, and it is also so fast, so a lot of it is decision making and adjusting as the game is going. So it's a whole other piece of it that you don't see as much of in the full field setting.
Like you told us in the press conference after your guys win, you guys aren't seeking 2-pointers, you're kind of letting them come to you. But when you look at that final box score and it's 16-11, you remove those 2-pointers, it's a 1-goal game. Mm-hmm. How fascinating has it been for you as a player to kind of finally witness and be a part of a game that's involved with the 2-point shot and seeing what it can do to the momentum of a game?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's huge. I think we, like you've heard me talk about, it's not something we're really seeking out, but if it does happen, it's great. And for it to finally come, because we know we have players that can have the capability of doing that. It's just a matter of getting the opportunity to showcase that, and I think it really came at a good time for us in our game. Like you said, it does make a big difference. Being up by 1 versus being up by 2 is a really big difference maker in a game, especially as close as the one we had last night. And I think it'll be interesting to see how that continues to be an aspect of the game as people get more comfortable taking those shots, as girls get more comfortable seeing the openings to take that opportunity. And then it's just a matter of when do you take the risk and when do you not, because it's in the same way, if you go for a 2-pointer and you miss it, it's a 0-point game where we could get 1 and then they get 1, and it's a 2-point swing kind of however you see it. So it's really interesting. We'll see how it continues to evolve as it becomes a bigger part of the game.
How sick is Madison Doucette?
She is absolutely the best. She is one of those players that I feel like I obviously got to play with her at Northwestern, which was incredible. She went to Hopkins for a year and did amazing there. And I feel like we've been able to see her evolve as a player through the years, and to have her on our team for sixes last year and her be such a big difference maker as someone who might not have been considered the number 1 goalie coming out of college, but to see her really come full circle in the sixes realm. And she's one of those people, if I need any sort of confidence in the game, if I get a little shaken or if I'm a little bit worried, she instills so much confidence in all of them and in all of us. And she really is one of those people that just, she's going to do whatever it takes to win. And it's really fun to have that backing. Again, talking about being an attacker on defense, having someone behind me that I know is going to be able to make the stops, and I know everyone on the field feels the exact same way. And then just as a person, she's an amazing person, really fun to be around, someone I respect a lot, as a full human being outside of a lacrosse player as well. So it's great to have her on our team.
And when you guys watch film of that game last night, and you kind of just take away the fandom of it and just watching it from a neutral perspective, watching Madison versus Taylor Moreno in goal has to be one of the coolest things, to kind of just sit back and be like, whoa, we're watching a goalie clinic.
Yes, really, we really are. And they're two of the best in the game. And it's an insane thing when a goalie can be one of the biggest difference makers in a game. I feel like a lot of times we talk about attackers, we talk about goals scored, we talk about big plays on one end of the field or the other, but when the vast majority of the big plays are coming from between the pipes, that's a pretty incredible thing. And we did see that last night. It really was a goalie just battle, and it's fun to watch. I know them both a lot personally, and to see them have that success is very exciting. And again, as someone who has to shoot a lot, it's a scary thing. There's a lot of really, really good goalies in this league, and it's not enough to be able to get to cage. You really have to get past that last barrier, and the goalies here make it very, very difficult. So it's fun to witness, not as fun to shoot against.
Izzy, I'm sure your mom's going to be thrilled that you're on the show because dating back to the WLL inaugural announcement, she just started retweeting everything quote-wise that I was putting out there that you were dropping, holding the WLL a secret from her until the very last minute.
Yep.
And she's been listening to the show ever since, so I'm sure she's going to be stoked to finally hear you on the show.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, shout out my mom. She's my biggest fan, biggest supporter. I don't know everything that she does on social media. I hope it's all nice, but I know she's a big fan.
She's one of my favorite followers.
Oh, good.
She's the best.
No, she's just a diehard fan. She probably sees more on social media than I do, so she's the best. She's big, if not biggest reason I am here today, so I'm glad she has your guys' support as well.
She's the conductor of the Scane train.
She really is. She's the best. She really is. She will be excited to hear this. She'll be excited for the shout-out, too. I'm sure she'll post it and retweet it everywhere.
I'll clip it and send it to her.
Good. Perfect.
Izzy, this was a blast. Thanks for hopping on OTB.
Thank you.
Shout out Meg Carney and Izzy Scane. We've been trying to get Izzy on the show for a while, so the fact that we got her in person, no less, was fantastic. Meg was phenomenal. And Deej, I know you love that clip that we put out to put the interview out. Meg loves playing defense. She got that hooper background.
Big hoops. You see it. Pistons best in the game. Shout out them Detroit Pistons. But yeah, dude, basketball is my favorite sport to.
You love the way they dribble up and down the court?
I hate you.
that was, all pun intended, that was a layup.
It was. I literally lobbed you the easiest oop to throw down. Like, it was right there.
I'm like, Braun and D-Wade right there.
No, but it's my favorite to compare, and then it's my favorite to translate. Like, when I get former basketball players to come and play for me, it is so easy to get them to catch on quickly because it's the same game. You just use a stick instead of your hands, like and the ball's smaller instead of bigger. You're not throwing it in a hoop, you're throwing it in a net. But everything's so similar. So a lot of those players love playing defense because it just takes them back to those basketball roots. She's showing it again. She continuing to add brownie points.
Yeah, I'm a big Meg Carney fan after this week. Not only her coming on the pod, but just her play in the Champ Series was phenomenal. And obviously, Izzy is just an absolute delight. She's the best. Nothing but respect for my GOAT. Shout out Mama Scane, too. She's the best. And I'm excited to watch her in a full season this year, too, and really get after it, especially now that she's got a championship next to her name here in the WLL. Shifting to PLL Champ Series, Deej. I know it was a tough one in that championship, but once again, the podcast knows ball because who picked Chaos to win from the jump never wavered, even after an 0-2. I saw the vision. I was like Doctor Strange looking at all the permutations. The Carolina Chaos with our guy Brooksy, Champ Series champs. First time in the tournament, first time champions. They beat the Redwoods 24-16 in the championship after surviving a thriller of a game against the Outlaws in the semifinal. They were just a fun team in this tournament, man. Like, start to finish, just watching them compete was so much fun. And Shane Knobloch was just playing on another planet this Champ Series. 30 scoring points, wins the Golden Stick, and really made a case for himself for 2028, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah, I mean, he looked phenomenal in the entire Champ Series, led the Champ Series pretty much from the get-go in saves, and did everything he needed to put Chaos in a position to win. I think them starting 0-2 wasn't prime for them, but I think with the way that he played in those two games, it gave them the wherewithal and the thought that if we can figure out how to put a few more goals in net, this is ours to lose. Because when you have a goalie back there stopping as much as him, all you have to do is put in a few more and you win. Like, you look at their two losses, they easily could have won those games if they scored just a couple more goals because of the fact that so many were being taken off the board on the other side. So I think that's really where they got the power to win Champ Series was with Austin and how well he played, knowing that, hey, if we get to X amount of goals, it's kind of hard for us to lose because they're not scoring that many based off of how well he's playing.
100% agree with everything you just said. I was talking about Shane Knobloch.
Oh. Well,
hitting the golden stick.
I want to talk about Shane's 2-pointer.
Dude, where's that range coming from?
I think you know exactly which one I'm talking about. There's a specific one.
Where I just want to know where he found that range, where he got that in his bag.
It's been in his bag. Well, first off, I'm saying that because I saw him play. I saw him play at Rutgers. You refuse to watch college lacrosse.
I saw him play high school.
And
South Jersey.
The boy was ripping at Rutgers. So I knew he had the range. For me, it was that 2-pointer where they were man down. And he had a double team with like 3 seconds left on the clock and he just ripped. That can't go in. One, he can't even get that shot off. He's being double. That shot should not get off. And two, it shouldn't go in. But that right there was like a turning point for me in that game. Like that was when I went, oh, Chaos is going to win this game. His 2-point shooting was phenomenal. His speed, phenomenal. He was on a mission. He was their top player outside of Cole Williams. I also thought Cole Williams played phenomenal in this Champ Series. Those two were absolute motor for this team.
For a team that was pieced together really, from some guys that were there prior, some guys that were brought in free agency from, Chris Eslanian coming back from injury to Cole Williams to Charlie Bertrand, like pairing that with Knobber, Ross Scott, Jackson Eicher, first time playing sixes, Perk, who's been in this format before. I thought Ray Dirth played really well in this format. Scarpello, obviously, is a veteran of this. Mark Lassini playing for the first time. He was awesome. They really, pieced themselves together and played like a team that had been playing together forever. But if I told you, hey, they have a brand new head coach who was named the head coach 2 weeks before Champ Series started, and they have a bunch of players that they signed in free agency that haven't really played together before, I think anybody you tell that, they would have called you crazy. But here they are playing with team chemistry, playing with just the absolute, they played the most fun brand of lacrosse, even in those losses. And we talked about the losses last week a little bit, but you look at those losses, it was an overtime loss and a game where they had a 5-goal lead that they just ended up blowing the lead. They were ahead in that first game for most of that game. They go to overtime with the Redwoods. Then they escape narrowly against the Denver Outlaws. And then they go belt to ass, full-blown adrenaline, and they were just in the driver's seat from the beginning in the championship game. It was just a ton of fun to watch them play. And if it's any precursor to what we're going to see of, and I asked Austin Kaut about this, I said, meshing the culture that you guys have had from the jump. He's been there from year one. Glick's been there from year one. They've got a lot of guys who have been there for a couple years now. And, obviously Blaze when the full season starts. But, when you have kind of a baseline culture and then you bring in a guy like Brooksy, meshing those two cultures together, if this was any indication of what that could look like, Carolina's going to be a fun fucking team to watch this summer.
I 100% agree. They're going to be a very exciting team to watch this summer. I don't know how it's going to look. We don't know who from this team is moving, into the summer. We don't know, what the first couple of weeks are going to look like for them as far as NLL guys. But I do know Stephen Brooks is a great coach. Mm-hmm. And I do know he's excited to finally be running things himself. And I have to imagine that the guys that will be in the locker room with him will be excited to have him there as well. And that is going to go far for this team. I think that's more than half the game here. In terms of the PLL, you don't get to spend a ton of time with these guys. So you need to like them so that the little bit of time that you do spend together is productive. and helps you get to your goal rather than focusing on some of the other things that could come up during that time.
I was also, because we obviously had Austin Kaut and Ross Scott in the show, who you'll hear from in just a little bit. I was going through this Chaos roster, like their full season roster, Deej. You're going to laugh at this. It's kind of crazy. I'm genuinely convinced. I haven't gone through every team, but I'm pretty sure we've had the most Chaos players on the show of current roster. You ready for this?
Really?
Here we go. Jackson Eicher, Ross Scott. By proxy, I count Cole Williams because he follows us on social media, so he knows we exist. We're just working on getting one on the show, so that's 3. Scarp, who's been on Underground, follows the show. That's 4. Troy Ray, Jared Newman, Jack Rowlett, Justin Anasio follows us on social media. Austin Kaut, Blaze Reardon, Stephen Brooks.
Oh, so this is a Chaos pod.
There's 11 members of the current Carolina Chaos roster and coaching staff that have been on our airwaves. Which makes all the more sense as well that Chaos ended up winning the Champ Series, because as I'm in the hotel preparing to go over to the St. James during this past week, I get a notification on my phone. At PLL Chaos followed you back on Twitter. And I was like, huh? Carolina Chaos admin, friend of the pod, follows the show. And then after the championship, I post a video of them celebrating. Boom. At PLL Chaos followed you, or at Chaos LC followed you back from your reel. They followed us on Instagram too.
So
I sent that to you and Hoots. I was like, and I be yelling out gang gang.
if you're not doing what they're doing, you're wrong.
The proof is in the pudding. Like, let it be known. Meg and Izzy came on. Austin and Ross came on. Who ended up winning the Champ Series?
Pod science is real. We've said this before.
People are saying. I walk by. You'll get a kick out of this story, too. I'm walking to go buy some cards because I had some cards on sale at the store. And I walk by Big Mike Rabel, who earlier that day, or the day before, so this was on Championship Sunday. He came on the show on Saturday. He was like, how's everything going? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hey, Meg Carney and Izzy Scane came on the pod. They're winning. Austin Kaut and Ross Scott came on the pod. They're winning right now. And then I go, you came on the pod. We're winning. It was great.
Just saying.
It was great.
Just saying. Maybe or maybe not. Coming on this pod does a little something for you.
And they came on before they won the championships, too. Meg and Izzy, Austin and Ross came on the show Friday of the second week of Champ Series. Little OTB bump for the people.
Just saying.
We tried to tell you that Alex Simmons stuff was just a fluke.
His was just delayed. We talked about that.
Right.
Because the very next week, the boy popped off.
Popped off. He's been popping off the whole season.
He was just delayed on his podcast science coming through.
Never wrong, just early.
That's it. That's it. We're not wrong often.
But it was pretty cool to see Chaos following us. So shout out to the Chaos admin. Brooksy's the best. We are working to get Stephen Brooks on the show again soon. He said he is always down to come on the show. Which it just feels good to have the head coach of the Carolina Chaos back in the corner of OTB. Not that Roy Colsey wasn't. It was just we never got a firm feeling out. But now we know Brooksy's our guy.
It feels like we got everybody in our corner.
I think we got our swagger back.
I mean, we didn't really lose it.
True.
Roy just didn't really know about it. That's all.
True. It was untapped swagger with Roy.
Yeah. But Brooksy's been in the fold, so it was only
he knows about the Brooksy rule, which is just great.
Iconic. That's so iconic. By the way, Brooksy rule is coined on this podcast.
Yep, we invented that shit.
We invented it because we just noticed that he was always on the candidate list. And we're like, that is not a mistake. There's a reason he's there. Now what I need, though, is for another head coaching position to come up and for him to still be interviewed.
Just interview his son.
Just for the shits and gigs. Like
they interview Brooksy's son.
Imagine he walks in, right? And they go, look, you're not leaving Chaos. This is just a formality. We had to call you in for an interview for this job, but we don't want you here. So have a great day.
He's like Wolf of Wall Street. He walks back into the Chaos room. He's like, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving.
I ain't going nowhere.
I'm not fucking leaving.
I'm right here.
The show goes on. They're going to need a wrecking ball to take me out of here. They're going to have to call in the National Guard.
It's on a stretcher.
He's like banging the microphone on his head on the way out. He's like, he's got Kaut and Blaze behind him doing the same thing.
Goes fucking stone cold.
Oh, I can't wait to tell him this. When he comes on the show. I told him, I was like, take some well-deserved rest, and then we'll get you on the show.
Absolutely. I can't wait to have him on the show.
He's a man. Some other interviews that we're working on. Chet Comizio is going to be on the show pretty soon. Best wishes to the boy in his recovery, because he left that game that the Atlas played in and said I talked to him. He said he'd be good in a couple weeks, but he is more than down to come on the show, which I'm excited about because I knew Chet went to Villanova. I didn't realize he was from Philly.
Really?
Yeah, he's a Philly guy, so it makes me like him even more.
I forgot he went to Nova.
Because I knew he went to Nova because the game after Philly weekend last year when Matt Campbell caught the foul ball at the Phillies game, he was with Chet. Because I think they went to Nova together. Yeah, Chet's from Basking Ridge, New Jersey. How far is that?
I thought you were about to say Baskin Robbins. Excuse me? He's from where now?
Basking Ridge, New Jersey. Somerset County. Okay. It's like right outside New York.
So
that's where he was born. Like that's his hometown, but
right.
He lives in Philly now.
Philly boy.
Philly boys. Yeah, so Chet's gonna be coming on the pod. I'm working to get KJ on the pod. He popped off this champ series,
great champ series,
which was awesome, and then went right back to playing for the Wings, which was pretty sick. I was also very impressed with the three guys from the Outlaws who were champ series signings. Lance Madonna, Ryan Cohen, and why am I blank? I always blank on the last one, and I apologize. Fulton Bayman. I thought all three of them had very, very strong performances for their first ever like eyes on them in a PLL format. And whether it's with the Outlaws or another team, I think all three of them made a really strong case for them to get calls for training camp.
I'll also say Mikey Bain did a great job of himself a spot. Like I wouldn't be surprised to see him in a Redwoods jersey this summer.
He's
the play that he had in the champ series was
he's 1,000%.
I think he ended up being the third or fourth leading scorer on that Redwoods team in champ series.
I didn't even realize because we talked about him in one of the press conferences. Anthony Kelly coached him in his youth program.
Oh,
so they have a connection with each other from there. And obviously Mikey being a Michigan guy and Anthony Kelly being from Ohio, like they've known each other for a long time. And that was like a guy that he wanted on the Redwoods. So I will not be shocked if Mikey Bain is playing for the Redwoods during the regular season in like good bunches because there's a connection there.
And I'm good with Mikey Bain being on the Redwoods. Michigan.
That's what
around.
Anthony Kelly said the same thing too. He said whenever there's a player available that is an all-time leading scorer in a college program's history, like you have to go get them.
Why not? They clearly know how to put the ball in the back of the net. And that's one thing the Woods struggled with at times was getting the ball in the back of the net.
Mikey Bain tied for 4th in points in Champ Series with another guy who popped off and really made a strong case for 2028. Motherfucking Aiden Denenza, man.
Well, his spot was already secured in my position. I thought AD88 was good last
same
regular season, so I didn't feel like
even more so now. Like his game just came to life, like it blossomed. Like he
looks like,
to put it in Poolski's terms, and by Poolski's terms I mean using Pokemon analogies here. He went from being like Bulbasaur during the regular season, like Bulbasaur is fucking awesome. That motherfucker evolved into Venusaur real quick this Champ Series. That thing was full bulb, full blossom, ready to go. I was thoroughly impressed with Aiden Denenza.
I thought he was the Woods' best player offensively.
Yeah.
In my opinion, from game one. I thought he made really big plays. He also made some good defensive plays to get them some
him and McAdory.
Yeah, them two on the offensive end were unreal. Especially, and you wouldn't think that they would need to be that good based off having Tumar, having Dylan Malloy, and a couple other pieces that they had on that offense to help. But without those two, Woods lose big time. Woods lose big time without those two. So that's something that I wanted to keep on the top of my head, was knowing how that was going to turn out for them. It came up big for AD88 to play the way he did. He was on fire from the outside. And then also once they started to press out, he knew how to get inside and finish. It was just phenomenal play by him all around.
Yeah, I mean, he finished Champ Series 4 games played, 23 points, 16 total goals. He had 3 2-pointers, 4 assists, shot 33.3%, 75% of his shots on goal for his shots on goal percentage. He only had 144 touches too. Like that's the impressive part is like it was minimal touches, but he made them valuable. And I think my like 3 stars for the California Redwoods this Champ Series, it was Aiden Denenza, it was Andrew McAdory, Mikey Bain, but also Matt Note was awesome. Matt Note let everybody know like, hey, I can hang in this league.
I said it last week that I owed him an apology, and I gave him one because I was really I wasn't high on him when they signed him in the regular season and had him as the backup, and I was like, I'm not sure. I feel like the Redwoods should have went and got Jack Frassian and this and that, and he told me to shut up real fast.
Mm-hmm.
He was the second best goalie, and at times the best goalie in championship series this year. And he proved why he should at least be a backup. And honestly, in my opinion, he proved why he should be giving Chase a run for his money, who I also gave an apology to last season because he stepped up to the plate and played well once he was the starter for that team in the summer. So I think the Redwoods have themselves a couple good goalies that are ready to step up to the plate and show up for their team when they need them to.
Yeah, and I think whether he was, in my opinion, the second best goalie behind Austin Kaut this Champ Series. Like it was one of those things that he knew like, hey, I got to put on a show. Like people are questioning whether or not we have good goalie play. I'm going to show them we got good goalie play. And he, even in the championship game, dude, like we were looking at the stats in the press conference. The Redwoods in that championship game, and this is why they don't play the games on paper, but you look at the stats, the Redwoods won damn near every single statistic outside of goals. They had more ground balls. They had more shots. They had less turnovers. They had more caused turnovers. They had more saves in the championship game. Matt Note was 52.4% on his save percentage in the championship game. They had more touches. They had more total passes. And yet they lost that game by 8 because the shooting percentage was more on point for Carolina and they hit more twos. And that was kind of like their their, wild card was like, hey, we have guys with power that can shoot through the net. We're going to hit from range, whether it's Jackson Eicher, Shane Knobloch, Aslanian, Cole Williams. Like, we have guys that can do it. And they went out and did it. Chris Aslanian, too, has never lost a champ series. 3-time champ series champion.
Oh, my. So basically,
that's the key. If you want to win champ series, you got to sign Chris Aslanian. The only one he didn't win was the very first one.
Wow.
Because he went back-to-back with Boston, and then he won this one with Carolina.
That's
never lost.
That's actually kind of wild.
And then the trend, if you want to win champ series, your team's got to start with a C for the PLL. Chrome, Cannons, Chaos. And in this case, this year WL charging.
So does
Boston Guard?
Does California slide in there then, since it starts with a C, even though they're the Redwoods? Like, I'm trying to figure out how to make this work for the Redwoods to win one at some point.
It's crazy.
So we either got to sign Chris or California gets us in.
Yeah.
I'm thinking we just need to go sign Chris.
And you can't go undefeated, because any team that has gone undefeated in PLL Championship Series history has lost the championship game.
You're right.
Which is also crazy to think about.
Insane. Because why wouldn't they win? Especially, I see why they didn't this year. Because I think having basically an entire week in between your last game and then your next game is a little rough. Well, they had the one game in the second week, but yeah, I think
where they went with a more defensive lineup too.
Yeah, I think playing that semifinal really helps.
Yeah, because then it's like, oh, we won, we have a little momentum. Now we got one game left. Just go leave it all out on the field. I think you saw that with the charging. You saw that with Chaos.
Yep, I think it helps a ton to already be in that win or go home mode.
Mm-hmm.
And Chaos were in that mode for 3 days, really, having to win that last play-in game too. They were definitely in that mode.
I also asked Brooksy after their first game back, because in the second game that they lost, he was like, the benefit of this, I'm a film rat. So he was like, I'm going to watch a bunch of films. So my first question to him after they won to advance to the semifinal, inevitably, I was like, so how much film did you watch? He said he stayed up till 3 a.m. cutting film.
My God. I can't say I haven't done the same. So I was like,
I have to ask him. I have to ask him how long he stayed up watching film. Some other highlights from Champ Series 2. We caught up with the boy, Josh Balkersell, JB34. Caught up with Pops. Poppy. I know he's listening too. He's the best.
What up, gang?
Did the jersey swap. The jersey swap happened with JB. Very pre-COVID, outside of the Vegas nightclub jersey swap. And we got the signed jersey for the studio.
All I want to say is, if the PLL ever comes across an opportunity to have some really obscene jersey swaps, I need them to not do what the NBA did and stop them from doing that, because that is the type of comedy we need in the world right now.
Yep.
If those jersey swaps could stay around, and if they were still happening right now, the NBA would be a far better place. So since I know y'all are listening, let us have fun with the jersey swaps, please.
Who would be the most chaotic one for the PLL?
I don't think there really is one right now.
I'm trying to think.
That's why. Like, there isn't any really, like, foul sounding.
The only one I can think that could, like, make it funny would be Michael Sowers. Something Sowers.
Yeah, but that's like
just like sounding wise.
Yeah, it's not funny enough. Like,
but it's finding the coupled.
Yeah, like it's too hard right now with lacrosse. We don't have something easy like the NBA had.
If only there was somebody with the last name Truck and they could swap with Dylan Hess.
That'd be great. But no, we're not going to get that ever.
Is there anybody? I'm like scrolling quickly through all of the names on current active rosters right now.
And there's just like, I can't think of anything that like.
Well, we got Graydon Hogg. Let's not forget about Graydon Hogg.
But what do we have to go with that?
Well, I don't know if I want to say it out loud, but this person just retired. Used to play for the Cannons too. Hates people below the height of 5'10".
Yeah, I could get with that for sure. I could get with that for sure. If you know who hates short kings, then you know exactly what I'm talking about right now.
Looking to see if there's anybody else.
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
I mean, Chris Fake and Graydon Hogg would be kind of funny. Fake Hogg. Fake Hogg would be pretty funny.
Oh, deep fake would be great.
Well, that one that I mentioned to you could also happen with the Denver Outlaws because there's somebody with that same last name.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And you like that guy a lot, too.
It's our guy, friend of the program.
He is a friend of the program.
I mean, if Ryan Brown was still in the league.
There could be some good ones here.
That's so funny. There's Jack Gray. We could go Gray Hog.
That would sound better with Greyhound. But Greyhogs, it definitely works. That's probably the only one really that works as of right now. It's Hog.
Yeah, you need somebody with a last name that's a color. For it to like fully
or descriptive.
Sam King Hog. Hog King.
That's the one. That's the one. Hog King.
Matt Moore Hog.
More Hog. I need it.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. What was I just gonna bring up too? There was something else from Champ Series. As we were just going through the jersey swap. But yeah, we did the jersey swap with JB. That jersey will be hanging down here pretty soon, which I'm excited about. He's gonna come on the show pretty soon. He's coaching his high school team this spring, which is pretty sick. I was talking to him about a bunch of stuff, and he's just working to like make lacrosse like his full-time operation. But yeah, I mean, Champ Series was sick, and I'm trying to think if there was anything else that happened that I needed to bring up to you. We got really derailed by Graydon Hogg.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen that way.
But it did, and it's fine. I mean, we're a month out from the draft, too, which is kind of crazy because the draft is earlier this year. April 14th and 15th will be the draft. We'll have our draft extravaganza as we always do. Whether I'm at ESPN or not remains to be seen. I don't know what the whole deal is there, but if I am, that'd be awesome. If not, we'll be holding it down regardless, and we'll still be doing a stream. Yeah, Champ Series was one for the books. But I think without any further ado, we cut to our conversation with Austin Kaut, Ross Scott from the 2026 Championship Series champion, Carolina Chaos.
All right, everybody, we're here at PLL Championship Series and joined by two of the Carolina Chaos's finest, Austin Kaut, Philly guy, and Ross Scott. Guys, happy to have you on the show.
Thanks for having
Austin,
us.
thanks for collabing on Fridge Facts last night. Hope you enjoyed that one. That was a Joe Keeg special, dropping that one there. But Austin, I'll start with you. Just take me through what this experience has been like for you as a goalie, where, you know, Champ Series very predicated on the offensive side of things, but you're absolutely tearing the world apart. Engage.
Yeah, it's like I've reiterated it over the last couple days of it's a different style of lacrosse. It's you can't go out there and play normal style of goalie play. You got to kind of mix it up, make guys think a little bit more. And it's worked out to my favor, but it could have also flopped. So it's doing good. Just got to keep getting better though.
And Ross, when you see Austin just, standing on his head for you guys, how much easier does that make it for you, and how much does it motivate you guys to be like, all right, he got us one, let's go get one for him?
Yeah, it's incredibly motivating. Obviously, Austin is, going back there, he's our absolute rock, and, it makes our defense scheme a lot more simple. There's a lot of goals in this sixes format, and it's generally a lot easier to get to the goal. And we know, and our defense talks about it a lot, if we get them to the spots that Austin's comfortable saving the ball, we know he's going to make those saves. And, we just have so much faith in him. And being able to see him do it in front of the world and make all these huge stops is no surprise for us here.
How much fun has it been playing for Brooksy, these past 2 weeks? And, obviously just getting acclimated to a new coach. Austin, you're now on your third with the Chaos, but, what does Brooksy bring to the table that's been different than years past?
Yeah, I mean, he's a little bit closer to age, and he just brings a new, fresh, outlook to how we want to play as the Carolina Chaos. So, it's been good. It's been great. Brooksy and I go back a long way from the Florida launch days, and, it's a good step for us, going into the 2026 season.
And Ross, just kind of what are some of the challenges with, going through coaches, but now having, Stephen Brooks, a former player in the PLL too, how much of a benefit for you do you think that's going to be to have kind of a former player mindset kind of leading the way for the Chaos?
Yeah, Coach Brooks brings incredible energy. I think that's the number one thing that hopped off the page for me. He brings such good energy, always very, very positive, and I think he's been really resonating really well with the guys. Obviously, when he's talking, I'm perking up my ears because he has a lot of really good things to say. And he's a legend in the game, so being able to learn from him and hear some things he has to say is going to be really awesome.
Austin, I heard you're the team DJ. What's on the playlist? Because I think you and I are closer in age than some of your younger teammates. But what are we ripping on the speaker?
Yeah, it's a mixture of EDM to old school to, I've taken a little bit of a step back to let some of the younger guys play some of their music this week to kind of just give them basically like a trial run to see if they can take over some of the duties. But it's been good. So good mixture of everything. A little bit of songs for each person that wants to hear something, and as long as you have that balance, everybody's jacked up for game day.
What's it been like kind of just having this core of Carolina Chaos guys, where there's some guys that are on the team, some new guys in the mix? How beneficial is that for you guys to know that you'll have this time period of, this group of players going into training camp when May rolls around, April rolls around, and being like, hey, we kind of had a jump start to really get this thing going?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an advantage. Like, you're basically getting like another mini training camp ahead of the other, 4 teams that aren't in this. So, it's good to get those new guys acclimated a little bit more and, just to get used to new tendencies. We got some older guys, so new guys on the offensive ball, new guys on the defense side of the ball, but it's definitely an advantage to kind of be ahead of the game going into training camp in April.
Yeah, I think one thing that we pride ourselves on, especially Cowder, is we're one of the tightest locker rooms in the league, and it's really nice to get that jump start together here again, and rekindling with guys that we've been apart from since the season ended, and then with the earlier start in the training camp, it's just so much time together that goes a long way as you get into that season, as you get into those tough games. So that's the part that I'm most excited for, getting able to hang with the boys more.
And I think kind of going back to Brooksy too, kind of getting a jump start with a new coach where you don't have to wait until training camp to kind of, get introduced in person. And, obviously you and Brooksy have that relationship prior, but, from a coaching tendency perspective, that's also got to be a huge advantage for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely huge. I mean, it's big that it was only a couple weeks ago that he was really just announced as the head coach, and it was kind of like jump right in, come up with schemes, come up with game plan, film right off the bat, kind of getting us ready for the Champ Series. And, it's showing right there now that we're, a lot of work still to do this weekend, but, we're on the right path.
Austin, you got caught on camera too, going dad mode right after the game. How fun is it, to have, little one here to watch dad go crazy in goal at Champ Series?
It was, she's a little bit too young, but she'll always have that, that image, and, it was kind of stayed on the broadcast for a little bit longer, so she'll always have that image, and it was always something that growing up playing that I wanted to have children and wanted to be able to have my children, be here and, be a little bit earlier, know what's going on, but at the same time, she's got those pictures. That's why I'm still playing. That's why I want to be here. I love being here with the boys, but, at the same time, it's like I want to be able to show my daughter that one day, her father was there and doing it, and hopefully she's doing it one day too.
Plumber's got a cool dad.
Yes, she does. Austin, I'm going to dish this one out, all pun intended. What's the cheesesteak order and from where? And Ross, for you, Pacific Northwest guy, what would you kind of put toe-to-toe with a Philly cheesesteak from the Pacific Northwest?
Scooter, why don't you start?
This is tough. Man, Pacific Northwest has a lot of great food, especially I live in the Portland area. There's a lot of great restaurants. I wouldn't say we're known necessarily for anything like a cheesesteak is in Philly. We've got some great seafood, some really good restaurants in the area. I think we've got some great sushi, but there's not one thing that I can say goes toe-to-toe with the cheesesteak, so I'm going to let them have them.
It's a tough question that you get a lot. Just
right.
because, to be honest with you, it's like you could say the Angelos, you could say that, but there's so many smaller local spots that still make a great cheesesteak, like Del Sandra's.
Yep.
Like you got, there's just too many different choices, but it's kind of really just on what day and what you're looking for. So if you're looking for, old school, just, back to the grind, you're going to Jim Steaks. It's just, there's too many options. But, obviously, Angelo's cheesesteak is just
100%.
unmatched. It's unmatched.
It's incredible. And, Ross, for you to have a bunch of Rutgers guys on this Chaos team, coming in.
Too many to count.
And then you bring Christian Scarpello into the mix in free agency. How fun is it to, have a bunch of Scarlet Knights running around?
Yeah, it's a blast. It's, guys I've hung out with, whether, Scarpello, we never got to play together, but got to hang out with him as an alumni. We've had a lot of guys come in and out, and, obviously get to hang out with Shane every day is awesome. And, being able to just be in that same comfortable locker room, I think the Rutgers guys all kind of resonate really well with this locker room, and, we all have a great time. But at the end of the day, we're all in the chaos, and we're all working towards one goal. And, whether it's Kaut or it's Shane, we're all just having a good time and enjoying each other's company.
I know you guys are going to be score differential watching tonight, but best of luck the rest of the way, and thanks for hopping on the show.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you.
Shout out to Austin Kaut, Ross Scott. No coincidence there that Ross scores 4 points in the championship game, and Austin Kaut goes on an absolute hater the whole Champ Series after they came on the show. So shout out to the boys, and Austin knows ball. Angelo's is the cheesesteak spot, man. Delco's finest. Next week we will include our conversation with Mike Rabel from Champ Series on the show. It is up right now in video form on the Outside the Box Podcast YouTube channel. So if you want to check it out, it's standalone by itself right now. But that'll be on the show next week for the people that may have missed it. A lot of good business talk in there with Big Mike, and he wants to make that an annual sit down with OTB at Champ Series, which I don't know, Deej. It's really cool to me. Obviously we have a phenomenal relationship with Mike. But when you have a sports league CEO saying, yeah, let's make this an annual thing and sit down and talk with you at our event, that's pretty special to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. One, lets us know we're doing the right things, and people like talking to us, but also it's huge for us to get to our fans. And, they're able to get inside from a guy who's high up because we're doing the right things. So I like to hear it. Unfortunately, I have yet to be a part of one of these conversations.
Oh, you were on the first one.
Yeah, you're right, because we were doing
remotely
radio. Yeah, we were doing OTB radio, and I was here in the radio station doing radio. Surprise. But no, yeah, in person anyway, I haven't been a part of one of these conversations. So eventually I will figure out a way to get down there. But this is having a yearly stand-in with one of the top guys is unprecedented for a lot of podcasts. You don't get that with a lot of media, being able to just sit down with a guy who's sitting at the top of all top tables in a league. So I love that we get that opportunity, and we will continue to make the best of that. Y'all can count on it.
Big facts. Shout out to Big Mike. Shout out to Izzy Scane, Meg Carney, Austin Kaut, Ross Scott for hopping on OTB at Champ Series. All of our PLL discussion there brought to you by our PLL app code. Guys, the PLL app is your one-stop shop to keep up to date with everything going on in the PLL. Season will be upon us before we know it, okay? Let's not get it twisted. We are ever so close. As we sit here on March 13th, Deej, we are less than 2 months away from opening weekend of PLL 2026. That gets me excited. Draft is going to be here. There's college stuff in the PLL app. You don't want to miss out on any of the action. Download the PLL app in the App Store, Google Play Store, and when you go to the redeem code section, use code OTBPOD. That's OTBPOD. You get 500 XP on your account. It's the easiest way to keep up to date with everything in the PLL. So download the PLL app and use code OTBPOD in the redeem code section and get 500 XP on your account. Keep up to date with everything going on in the PLL, the WLL, and the college game all year long in the PLL app. Deej, one other thing I just wanted to get your thoughts on PLL-wise, the Japan jerseys and helmets dropped. I'm going out on a limb here. These are the best anything PLL, WLL jerseys we have seen since year one All-Star, and I think they're both in the S tier with the All-Star jerseys, the tie-dye ones.
These might be the best jerseys ever created.
All right, I don't feel as crazy.
There is an argument for these to be above the tie-dye. Not saying they are 100% above them, but there's definitely an argument for them there to be there. I thought
they are
awesome.
Impeccable. I saw the helmets at Champ Series because all the players were getting fitted for their helmets, and we were walking by them, and a couple people were like, shh, and like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, pointed them out. And then I saw people walking with them. They are gorgeous. And I didn't want to feel like a crazy person saying that they were better than the tie-dye, but now that you're saying it, I feel great about it. They are.
Well, don't feel great, because we tend to be along the same lines as a lot of things. We might both just
yes, but I feel less crazy that we're in lockstep on that, because when it comes to drip, you and I are pretty lockstep. But I didn't know where we towed the line when it came to talking about the almighty tie-dye jerseys, because they are a grail jersey.
Tie-dye has a little bit of extraness in here because I happen to have one.
Right.
Which, like, most people do not have one. So that changes a lot for me with those. But this is very, very similar.
As cool as it was at the time, during the game, it was year one. I think aging-wise of those jerseys, not having actual names on the back of the jerseys and it being social media handles, I don't know. I don't know. 6'7".
I see, that's tough for me because like
in game it was good.
The social media handles have only been used so many times.
Right.
So that was like that piece in that. It was cool for on field. And
it got you to follow those players.
Yeah, like there was a lot that came from that. And I think that was really just a one-time thing because the league was so new.
Yes.
So they wanted people to find these people and know who they were outside of lacrosse and like figure out who they were without a helmet on their head and like all this kind of stuff. But they did, to me, they should have released some that had just traditional last names on them to the fans so that they could wear.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't hate that they did.
Yeah, 100%. But these Japan jerseys, that dragon, it's not a lizard. It's a dragon. It don't do that tongue thing. One of the greatest Disney lines of all time. Shout out Eddie Murphy. Dragon. I don't do that tongue thing.
You're hilarious, bro.
It's one of the best. That's a top 5 Disney movie line of all time.
Pulling that out is hilarious. You are
like that jersey's just sweet, man. I ordered an Izzy Scane one.
I knew you would.
I'll be wearing that one of these weekends for PLL. That's for damn sure. I might wear that for our live show.
For live?
I might wear that to the live show.
What? I ain't mad at it. I might have to get one then.
It's fire.
I might have to find a male player to get so we can go yin and yang. Maybe is one white and one blue, or are they both blue?
They're both blue.
Okay.
Just the WLL logo and PLL logo are changed.
Right. But I don't know why I thought there was a white one out there somewhere. Oh, now I know why. Never mind. When we were talking in the group chat.
Mm.
And that mock one was thrown out
Yeah.
by Hoots. That is why I thought there was a white one out there.
What players are available? So, PLL player-wise, there is Justin Anderson, who just got named the captain. Shout out to the boy, friend of the pod. Matt Campbell, Tyler Carpenter, Aiden Carroll, Romar, Zach Geddes, Kirsty, the goalie Kirst, for everybody listening, Knobloch, Coulter Maxey, Logan McNaney, Mac O'Keefe, Bo Pedersen, Ross Scott, and Matt Trainer.
Ooh, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Meeting TC in the airport and him living in Michigan and running the stealth program here makes him a fine candidate. But I cannot ignore a true Michigan man in Bo Pedersen being a candidate either.
5 friends of the program are going to Japan.
Maybe we should go to Japan.
five and a coach, because Staggs is the coach.
Somebody was looking at the roster and was like, well, is it going to be 6s? And like they'd be like, that'd be really weird with Staggs being the coach over there. We know how much he hates 6s, and they're not wrong. He has flat out said he dislikes 6s. Japan could low-key compete in 6s too.
Mm-hmm.
They could give them a run for their money in 6s for sure. I hope it's 6s now.
Bo Pedersen or Tyler Carpenter would be sick. Matt Trainer, I think, is going to be the coolest looking. Like, I think that's going to be the most popular one that people get of the Japan jersey. Just because of how he popped off, and it almost resembles the Atlas colors, too.
Mm-hmm.
But I think any of those jerseys are sick.
If you got a chance to get one, you better get it.
You better get on that.
Those are going to be some of the nicest jerseys the PL loves.
And I love the font. The font's so sick. It looks like Street Fighter. It looks like Dragon Ball Z. Like, it's so cool. Such a fan. This is easily the best Japan jersey they've done. And it is S tier of all PLL jerseys. This is up there S tier for me with the tie-dye jerseys from All-Star 2019. This is up there with the pink chrome jersey that we brainchild and they brought to life. This is up there with some of the indigenous heritage and throwback jerseys. Like, this is
cream
peak.
of the crop.
This is peak
good stuff.
So shout out to the Japan series.
Chrome.
Yeah. That was ours.
We cooked up with that.
We did, and then they brought it to life, and we were like, hey.
Looking like who's that actor?
Leonardo DiCaprio in the chair.
That
hey, we did that. That's us.
He was in Hey, that Gene in them?
Oh, that's hysterical. That's so good.
That is such a funny quote. That's Gene in them.
We got to find a way to incorporate that for PLL tweets.
Yes. Because it is so funny.
Oh, that's good. But now we shift to the NLL. Trade deadline is come and gone. Can I just say this? And I know we're probably going to catch shit for this, so I apologize for throwing you in the mix here. Why was the NLL trade deadline not like advertised? It felt like it just sprung up on Monday, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Doug, I'm looking around and like 1,000 moves are being made, and I was like,
why are we not advertising this as a full-blown event like every other sport?
so I can at least be aware and ready for what might be happening. Like, literally, we all woke up on Monday and there were 1,000 moves being made, and we all just looked at each other like, what?
Huh?
There was no rumblings of people being moved before this or anything. It was just...
And, how is the league just not saying, hey, trade deadline? What are we doing?
Even just a couple social media posts. Trade deadline's on the way. Oh, to me, they could have gotten away with just 2 tweets about it.
Yeah.
2 Instagram posts about it. Like, that's it.
Get it on the radar, at least. It was not on my radar.
It could be a week before. Hey, trade deadline closes in a week. And then the morning of, hey, trade deadline is at the end of today. That's all we need. We didn't even get that.
It's crazy.
You could have even gotten away with just one, just putting it out the morning of, saying, hey, today's trade deadline day. Instantly, we all perk up and start looking for it and are on the aware. Instead, we just got stuff thrown in our faces and went, what?
Left and right moves getting made. We're getting blown up with different messages about potential trades from stuff. And I'm just like, what is going on? My gasps were flabbered that it was just not a more incentivized, advertised event for a league that claims to be the next major league. That's the little nuance things, man. I'm gonna keep going on about this because it's dumb to me that it was not advertised. That is a big thing in every other fucking sport. I don't care if it's the NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, WNBA, PLL, every other big league. Name another sport. I don't care. The fucking Premier League soccer, the transfer window, when that thing's open, that shit's buzzing. And I'm locked in, watching all the shows on YouTube, watching everything on the Sky Sports social media that I can, be able to watch when I have access to it, because sometimes it's not available in my region. Can we fix that, Sky Sports? But every sports league, I'm like, all right, let's see what happens trade deadline. The NLL, this is a big deal. This is big game-changing moves happen, and it's no advertising for it. That to me is just such malpractice. You can't operate under the assumption that everyone just knows when dates are. We all have lives too, okay? We are all not glued to, the schedule pages like this, just seeing when dates are and when stuff. Just put it on our radar. And it's oh, cool, that's trade deadline. We'll know. Cool, that's when this is. We'll know. The fact that, it just caught us by surprise when we are very much locked in to pretty much everything involving the sport blew my mind, that I'm waking up day after getting home from Champ Series and I'm seeing trade rumors being thrown around, and it's just left and right, boom, 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 this, that, and the third. And I'm like, what the hell? Why? What? I need justification for it. It drives me crazy. It really, as a fan of the league, as someone who covers the league, it infuriates me when stuff like this happens. And I'm sure people are going to come after me for this when they listen. I'm sure people are going to be like, oh, all you got to do is ask. All you got to do is look. And it's no, we shouldn't have to do that. That is the job of the league, is to put that not only for the people like us, but for the common fan.
I was going to say, you can say that we should go looking or we should ask, or because cool, part of that is on us as being parts of the media to go out and find this information. Cool. But we're not the only people looking or needing this information. There's people who don't watch a lick of basketball that know exactly when the trade deadline is. Why? Because the NBA advertises it like crazy. The most fair weather football fans can tell you when the trade deadline ends in the NFL because it is advertised. The baseball trade deadline is one of the quietest deadlines out there some years, but there isn't a baseball fan that doesn't know when it is because it is put out there for all of them to know.
It's a rare commodity at the NFL trade deadline that moves happen. It's very rare. But everyone's locked in that Tuesday of the trade deadline. Everyone damn well knows it's the NFL trade deadline. Baseball trade deadline, everyone's got what team's going to make a move? Is my team going to go trade for a bullpen pitcher? Who's on the move from a team that's tanking? This, that, and the. Everyone knows.
And everyone's also putting out how pissed they would be if their team doesn't make any moves.
Right.
But we don't even get that with
it was radio silence across the board.
Because nobody knew.
Outside of the handful of people that always do, which I'm not bashing them, but again, you can't just be under the assumption that everyone knows this, that, and the third of when things go down. Like, it infuriates me.
I think the best way to put it is, like, you have to treat every year like
no one has ever watched your sport.
The majority of your fan base is a casual fan that just happened to have tuned in.
Yep.
Or not even a casual, a potential casual that just so happened to tune in. That is how you have to approach everything. Over-explain everything. Advertise everything. Put stuff out as much as you can so everybody knows. And then it's also a CYA. If we had this conversation about the NBA, they could pull up about 10 tweets and be like, well, you missed it.
Mm-hmm.
We put it in front of you dozens of times. You missed it.
Which, like, good on the loose mesh guys. They held a whole live stream. Why is the league not doing a trade deadline special?
You put out a thread every week with the final scores. How hard is it to put out a thread for trade deadline moves?
Why are they not doing a show with Teddy Jenner and Pat Gregoire and like some of the big dogs that do broadcasts and that are technically could be considered insiders on NLL Plus? You created this whole platform
that you barely use.
Boom, could have been on there and you would have had thousands and thousands of people tuning in.
And I understand if you can't do that because they have other stuff going on or anything.
Sure.
The least bit you could have done was put out a thread. Because you put out all the moves on your page anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So why not just make a thread about it and make it easy for everybody to find it? And also, you could get that thread started at the very beginning of the day. And be like, hey, trade deadline thread. Anything that happens today, you can find it here. And if nothing happens, cool. Nothing happens, but people knew of the opportunity to come and look for something. But then if 1,000 moves happen like Monday, it's also very easy to find every move and what happened in one central place.
Which, like, they were posting stuff out, and at like 7:10 p.m. on Monday, they put out like the graphic that, shout out to the boy Michael Harrison, made that graphic with like the big moves. But it also, like, it doesn't include draft picks, which, like, whatever, like those draft picks, you don't know what they're going to end up being or where they're going to end up going. So they're not like finite things. But like the fact that we didn't do like a trade, like you got the boy Dan Lomas, who's tapped into the league, former player. You could have had Dan Lomas and another personality on a desk doing a trade deadline special show on NLL Plus.
And that would have been great.
Like, it's like the little things to me that would take the NLL from being a quality product to a phenomenal product.
To what? The next major league?
Hello. And it goes back to Trailer Park Sports, what we said when he put that video out, lacrosse needs casual fans. Something like that makes a casual fan want to tune in.
Yep.
Because guess what? Guarantee at least 50% of the NLL viewing audience is a male audience. Just to put it that way. What are some of the things that guys being dudes love to do, Teej?
Just talk random sports stuff.
When we sit down, we're out to eat, we're out at a bar, we're chilling with the homies, kicking it at the crib. Yo, pull up Wikipedia for the 2015 NLL draft. Let's go through all the players. See where they got drafted. We just love naming dudes. Seeing where dudes are on the move to is in our blood.
Literally.
And seeing it in real time is just like, yo, did you see this person got traded? Like NFL free agency is going on right now.
And
I'm locked into teams that I don't even give a shit about.
And me, you, and Hoots haven't shut up about NFL free agency. And most of it is about other teams that have nothing to do with our favorite teams. I'm the only
one. We're like, yo, did you see this contract for Malik Willis?
I say I'm the only one complaining because my team keeps making dumbass moves. But other than
except your team's been making quality defensive moves. I'll give them that.
The defense wasn't a fucking problem.
Yeah, but it's getting better.
We're going to need to be a whole lot better if we want to win some damn games this year. We ain't got nobody to throw the ball to.
Yeah, you do. You got Golden. You got, what's his name if he can stay healthy?
Once again, we have nobody to throw the ball to.
This man's a certified 24-karat golden hater.
Yes. Because he wasn't healthy. When he was, he dropped a lot of balls, and he caught one touchdown, which he waited till the playoffs to do. Christian Watson, never healthy.
That's who I was thinking of.
Jaden Reed is our only receiver.
Yeah, big cheesehead. He's off to the Patriots. The cheese ball.
And he was drops McDrop hands, so he can leave too.
Oh, that's great. But yeah, trade deadline. The big moves via the graphic on the NLL's socials. Lucas Nielsen goes from Buffalo to Philly. Tyler Hendricks goes from Calgary to Buffalo. Tyson Bell goes from Halifax to Vegas. Josh Jackson goes from Vegas to Toronto. Justin Sykes goes from Vegas to Ottawa. Casey Wilson goes from Vegas to Halifax. Zachary Young goes from Oshawa to Vegas. Travis Longboat goes from Ottawa to Philly. Phil Caputo goes from Philly to Ottawa. Joe Resiteritz goes from Philly to Buffalo. And Blaze Reardon goes from Philly to Rochester.
That Blaze move is going to be nice. I think that's probably one of the bigger moves of this trade deadline. I think all these teams,
Caputo move to Ottawa is huge too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think all these teams made smart moves. The ones that made moves made smart moves. I think the bigger thing is a lot of picks were moved around, and we've talked a lot about not being fans of moving picks for certain reasons. I think that still stands, but for the most part, I think teams went out and got pieces that are going to help them with success and are going to help them move forward. And as busy of a trade deadline as it was, I don't feel like there were any like jaw-dropping moves. I think every move, not that every move was predictable, but there were no moves that went, whoa, what? Why would that happen? Like they all were very like, okay, they were all plausible. Like that makes total sense on why that move was made.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, from a Wings perspective, it's very evident. Like, you sent Joe Resiteritz home to finish out his career in Buffalo. You sent Blaze Reardon to Rochester. He's back at home. You know, he's living in upstate New York. His wife is pregnant right now. They're expecting a baby, I believe, in May. So they did right by those guys. And you got draft capital, you know, and the Wings now have 8 picks in the next 2 drafts within the top 4 rounds of those drafts. And those next 2 drafts, 2027, 2028, like they're viewed as like the 2 most loaded drafts, like potentially in NLL history. So for a team that's like looking to build around the Brennan O'Neills and Michael Sowers of the world, go get more picks to kind of be ammunition to actually build out a roster from the ground up.
Yeah, I'm excited to see, you know, where Philly moves from here. Those are obviously some bittersweet movements to make. But it opens up a lot of space for the young guys on this team to start to blossom, and also for you to make more moves to fit them. I think there was a changeover that happened over the offseason, and a couple of the moves that they made here during the trade deadline were really just to reinforce that change and to really get guys in the right places and have the right pieces to surround them.
Yeah, and the other big move from the trade deadline, Rochester fired their coaches.
Was that from the trade deadline, though?
It was post-trade deadline.
I would argue that was because they got embarrassed by one of the worst teams in the league.
100%.
And I'm saying that as a fan of said team. We're not very good this year. So to get absolutely throttled by that squad says a lot. And to me, looking at Rochester and what hasn't changed, because basically nothing changed from last season where they were basically a title contender, it's got to be the coaching.
And I get, Hazen's a legend within the Rochester Nighthawks franchise, both old and new. Everyone being shocked by it, it's like they have a new ownership group. They have no attachment to Mike Hazen. They have no attachment to this coaching staff. So when they see things kind of crumbling, they're going to make a move. I was not surprised that a team that, has kind of been in free fall after a 4-0 start made a coaching change. That's what teams that want to be good do. They make changes. That's the thing. Like, I get the respect that Mike Hazen has for that organization, the organization has for him throughout their history. But when you lose 14-7 to, at the time, the second worst team in the league, record-wise, a change has to get made. And they made a change to a guy that they have no emotional connection to.
And that's huge. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, to me, it goes back to, like you said, them having no real connection. And they're coming in with the idea of this is our team and we have to make changes. And we have to make it work for us. And having a coach that started, on a slow skid and then hasn't really been able to turn it around doesn't work for us. We respect who he is as a person. We respect what he's done for the program, but this ain't that organization anymore. It's a new one, and we want to go in a new direction. I don't think it says anything about Hazen. I don't think it says anything about the players on the team. I think it says a lot more about the plans for this franchise by the new owners moving forward. And that's really, I think, like you said, what people kind of failed to remember or put in the back of their minds is that they're headed into a new regime and a new portion of their franchise where they're led by different people who have a different vision than what was there before.
Yeah. Just to look at the games from last week too, Toronto beat Vancouver 13-10, Halifax beat Vegas 13-11, Ottawa doubled up Colorado 10-5. Like we mentioned, Calgary get a win over Rochester 14-7, and Philly fall to Oshawa 13-12. Anything that really stood out to you, Deej? Congrats on the win.
Don't tell me congrats. Because I remember very vividly in the group chat last week, we shared our picks and everything. And Hoots goes, "Oh, Deej is picking against Calgary? What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, don't give me that. Because if they win, or if they win, I'm never going to do it again." And here we are. They didn't just win. They dominated. This game wasn't close at all, ever. This was one of the few games that I got to watch this weekend in terms of NLL. And from the get-go, I was like, oh my God. in the most bittersweet way possible. Like, half of me was loving the fact that, our offense was putting it together and we were having success and Aiden Walsh was playing out of his mind. And the other half of me goes, well, why the fuck did y'all choose to do this when I pick against you? Y'all hate me? That's what I deduced it to. Calgary hates having me as a fan. Not true. But that's just what it felt like. Like, they finally went out and handled business. So that was exciting to see, knowing that this team can go out and dominate like that. Do I think it will continue to happen that way? I hope so. But no, I don't. But I think it shows optimism and brightness for the future. This team can be very good, very fast. Very good, very fast. Off the simple fact that a couple draft picks going right, maybe a move or two in the offseason, this team can compete with anybody on the floor. They've shown that in Sparks this year. But this was the first time I felt like Calgary played a full 60 minutes. And it resulted in not just a win, but a dominant win against a team that many people thought at the beginning of the year was going to be a championship contender. And with the talent on that team, more importantly, the offensive talent, it's impressive to hold that team to 7. Not many teams this year have held that team to 7. So great game by Walsh in the defense. We have to figure out how to replicate this. I thought the Halifax and Vegas game was much better than some people gave it credit for. Vegas showed up. They pushed Halifax to the brink. Thunderbirds just had a little too much. And then the other thing was the Ottawa-Colorado game being so low scoring. Did not have a 10-5 game on my docket for those two. I thought it would have been something closer to 15-13, something like that. Both of those offenses extremely high-powered. Their defense is a little so-so. But actually it was the defense for Ottawa that stepped up and really played well, forced Colorado into a lot of mistakes and decisions, tough decisions, and it came out to be victorious for them. My piece on this, though, is it doesn't say a lot about Colorado or Ottawa. Mm-hmm. To me, I feel like they both kind of had down games, and Ottawa was just able to do a little bit more with what they had than what Colorado did. But I do feel like Colorado will bounce back and push forward. The Toronto game, I think that says a lot about Toronto. And I would be scared if I were some of the teams in the league having to play Toronto over the next few weeks. They have their eyes set on the playoffs. They have their eyes set on trying to find the best ball that works for them before April comes so that they can be in the March to May. Like they're seeing it. It's right in front of their eyes. They want it to happen for them. And this was another game that gave them that step forward, basically, especially when you look at the way that Vancouver has played this year. Mm-hmm. They played extremely well week in and week out. Toronto was able to put them in very tough situations and then capitalize off the mistakes that Vancouver made and came out with a huge road victory. So Toronto is definitely a team to keep your eye on moving forward.
Yeah. Bad loss for the Wings, too. Bad loss. Can't go 0-for in the first quarter and then just try to play catch up.
We talk about going scoreless in 15 minutes and what it does to you.
Sam LeClaire went ice cold again. 1 assist in this game. The fact that Alex Pace was one of the highest scorers for this team as a defender says a lot. He had 4 points as a defenseman in this game. Joe Resiteritz gave you a nice little swan song farewell game with 7 points, his highest output of the season. Brennan had 7 points in this game. Dalton Young looked great. Had a hat trick, his first career hat trick, I think, or his second of his career. But just not enough offense, and I hate when teams do the fucking goalie pulling shit. Let a guy work through. Like Nick Demude does not get enough credit for being as good of a goalie as he is, and this team just does not give him a leash. Like, I think Deacon Knott's a good player, but holy fuck, pulling Nick Demude after almost 13 minutes in this game is crazy.
Goalie pulling for me is very line stepping. You have to know when your goalie just needs a second and you need to ask your defense to help them out, and when your goalie is absolutely just not in the game. And I think sometimes coaches are quick to say, oh, this guy isn't fit for today, versus, hey, let's help him out. Let's give him a second to breathe. Let's maybe call a timeout and get him some water, something. Just something to calm the brain down a little bit and help them relax versus just completely pulling them. And I think that a lot of coaches are too quick to pull versus giving them a second. And also, I think that is a professional thing over college and other levels. I think a lot of coaches get in that mode of like, well, you know, am I on the hot seat? How does this look for me? Am I doing my job right? Maybe this guy, I need to pull this guy so that I can save face. Like, it's not always about you. It's about the team as a whole. And does putting in your backup really help your team in this moment? Maybe not, because 9 times out of 10, your backup is a backup for a reason. You got to let guys have a little bit of a leash. It allows them to play a little more freely, in my opinion. And that goes at all levels, really. The more of a leash you can give guys, the more comfortable they play.
100% agree. And looking at the standings real quick before we kind of speed through everything coming up this week. Saskatchewan's still at the top of the league, 10-3. Colorado's 9-4. Vancouver's 9-4. Georgia's 8-4. Ottawa's 8-5. Toronto is 7-5. Buffalo 6-6. San Diego 6-6. Rochester 5-6. Halifax all of a sudden 5-7. Vegas is 4-7, Calgary 3-9, Oshawa 3-10, Philly 3-10. Bring me Joey Spallina. Looking at the games this weekend, Deej, we've got Toronto at Halifax about to get underway, or is already underway as we're recording this right now. Philly and Oshawa get underway at 7 o'clock. Colorado at Buffalo at 7:30. Vancouver at Georgia at 7:30. That is my game of the week, by the way. That's on Saturday, 7:30, the Vancouver Georgia game. 9 o'clock on Saturday, Ottawa at Calgary. 9 o'clock on Saturday, San Diego, Saskatchewan, and then Sunday at 6 Eastern, Rochester at Vegas. What are you looking forward to this week? My game of the week is Vancouver at Georgia, Saturday, 7:30. Sign me up.
I think that's going to be a great game. That's one I would have circled. I like Toronto and Halifax a lot to start the weekend off. San Diego and Saskatchewan has serious star power behind it as well. And then Colorado, Buffalo, I think is another great game. But obviously the one I'm probably going to be watching the closest is going to be that Saturday night, 9 p.m. game, Ottawa and Calgary, just off the simple fact that they're coming off a huge victory, a dominant one at that. Can they keep that pace going? But in the same token, I'm only putting that game so high because Ottawa is on a tear right now. And if Calgary can go out and beat Ottawa, I'm going to be asking a whole lot of questions about where the hell this play was all year. But going into this game, it's really just two teams who are playing really good lacrosse right now, clashing with each other. It should be a phenomenal game.
Yeah, I'm pumped. It's going to be a loaded week. 7 games. Going to be a ton of fun. We're going to speed run our picks here, and they're brought to you by Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com, use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Maryland, Delaware, and New Jersey areas. You can also find Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores, convenience stores, and grocery stores in those markets. Just use the Kenny Finder at kenwoodbeer.com to see who's got it available. Must be 21 or older to do so. And as always, guys, please drink responsibly. Deej, we start Toronto, Halifax. Who do you got in the 6:30 Eastern Daylight Time matchup?
I'm going to take Halifax. For me in this one, I think it just comes down to them being at home and getting that early start at 6:30 on a Friday. The Nest is always loud on a Friday night at 6:30. I think it'll factor in. They also hate playing Toronto for whatever reason. That rivalry between them, it really stands strong. I got Halifax coming out on top.
I'm going with Toronto. They're just playing really good lacrosse right now. They're playing team lacrosse. They're playing good defense, and I just like the way those young guys are playing, from Sam English to CJ Kurse to Owen Hill. CJ Kurse is going to win Rookie of the Year, obviously. I just like the way that they're playing, so I'm going to go with Toronto. Philly and Oshawa, guys, I've already said it. Oshawa was dead. I don't care that they beat the Wings. They're still dead. I mean, that doesn't exclude the Wings from being dead either, but I'm going down with the ship. I said I wasn't picking Oshawa again this year. I'm going to take the Wings.
You may be going down with the ship, but after some conversations we had pre-pod, I was initially going to go with Philly. I'm switching to Oshawa. There are a number of players that are not suiting up for Philly.
It's the whole team, as Jason Kelsey once said.
And that makes me a little, nervous to pick them. So I'm going to go with the team that's a little more healthy. May not be as skilled, but definitely a little more healthy.
I will play devil's advocate here. I was scrolling Twitter as we're recording to see if any news was coming up. Oshawa's online ticketing portal is down, so the only way people can buy tickets for tonight's game is if you go to the arena. That might be an empty fucking barn.
Ooh. And it's probably still cold up there.
Man,
people ain't gonna be standing outside in that line for the box office.
That's some old school stuff there. They might as well give you a physical ticket right there.
They better.
Man,
I'd be mad if I stood in line and paid and didn't get a physical reminder.
Man. But yeah, half the Wings team is out, which is just crazy. Colorado at Buffalo. I'm going with Colorado to bounce back. Tough loss last week, but I still think they're one of the best teams in the league. They don't have Warren Jeffrey tonight, which is concerning, but I I think that offense still has enough firepower to go out and get a dub. So I'm going to take Colorado to beat Buffalo.
Buffalo's been playing well. They've worked their way back into not only a 500 record, but a spot in the playoffs. But I do think some of that luck runs out against a Colorado team that is most likely pretty upset with the way that they played last week and is going to look to avenge that.
My game of the week kicks off Saturday, Slate Vancouver at Georgia. I'm going with the MVP of the league. This is going to be an incredible goalie war, but I'm going Brett Dobson, Lyle Thompson, Nolan Byrne, and the Georgia Swarm.
You know, the Calgary Roughnecks are not playing good lacrosse this year, but the Vancouver Roughnecks have been amazing. Once a roughneck, always a roughneck, so I'm rocking with the Necks.
I will say,
Vancouver.
It's no coincidence that ever since the Georgia Swarm acknowledged our Brett Dobson TikTok, they've been playing pretty fucking good lacrosse.
Maybe they should follow us.
Follow us on Twitter, please. But they reposted us. They commented. They liked the video. It went kind of dummy viral on TikTok for our standards.
Everything but follow.
Follow us, Georgia. Come on. You know you want to. Look what happened to Chaos. Come on. That Southern charm. Ottawa, Calgary. I just think Ottawa's like the hottest team in the league right now. They're like, we said it last week when we were going through picks. That was like a crossroads game for them, like determining whether or not they were ready to like step into that next pantheon. They did that. They added Phil Caputo to the team. That's something that Jeff Teat and Rob Hellier absolutely needed. Their offense is loaded. I find it difficult to pick against them right now, so I'm going Ottawa.
I would love to pick against them, but after what happened last week, I can't pick against Calgary. The reverse psychology works too well. And yeah, I'm going to rock with Calgary this week. Not picking up that dub last week hurt, so hopefully I can pick one up this week. And if I can't, I'm hoping that well, Philly and Oshawa are playing each other, so one of you's picking up a loss and will remain under Calgary. So that is fine. As long as the Roughnecks are not sitting at the bottom of the league, I'm happy.
We go to San Diego and Saskatchewan. I am going with the Rush. 2 losses in a row and then into a bye week. I think they have like dwelled in the darkness like Bane, and they're going to come out with a vengeance and get a dub.
And I mean, the Seals are very beige, to put it out there. I mean, 124 goals for, 128 given up. Like, they're about as even of a team as you can be on both sides of the ball. Playing Saskatchewan, you need to be more than even on both sides of the ball. You got to be great. And I'm not sure that San Diego will be able to do that. I'm going to take Sask as well.
And then Sunday's game, Rochester and Vegas. I'm going with Rochester. They had Blaze Reardon, new coach bump. I think that's a thing in sports. You know, you fire your coach, you get a new coach in the mix, you get that new coaching hire bump. I think Rochester's going to play hard. They're going to go out there and get a dub. So I'm going with the Nighthawks.
I got to take Vegas. After seeing what happened to the Nighthawks last week to arguably the worst team in the league, I can't trust them to beat a team like Vegas who's scoring at an unreal clip. Rochester, you got held to 7 goals last week. You know who's near the top and putting up goals? Vegas. Now, they may be near the top and giving up goals too, but they can score with the best of them. Can Rochester go out and score goals with them again this week? We'll find out, but I'm going to go Vegas this week.
So there you have it. I also have Hoots' picks to run down here. I'm going Toronto, Philly, Colorado, Georgia, Ottawa, Saskatchewan, Rochester. Deidre going Halifax, Oshawa, Colorado, Georgia, Calgary, Saskatchewan, Vegas. Hoots is going Toronto, Oshawa, Colorado, Georgia, Ottawa, Saskatchewan, Rochester. And those are our NLL Week 16 picks of the week, brought to you by Kenwood Beer. I'm sitting at 43 and 43. Deidre at 41 and 45. Hoots is at 49 and 37 on the season. Any final thoughts before we hop on out of here, Deej?
I promise I'm not trying to drag us down in our picks. I'm just not this year. The picks hate me this year, and that's okay because I'm due for a loss. I won
like
NLL,
Charlotte North.
I won NLL and PLL back to back, which I don't normally do. I'm due for an L. I'll pop back though.
And this is like a new era. This is the first time we've had Hoots involved in NLL.
Yep.
So It's a new era. It's like when the NFL went from 16 to 17. Jim.
You're right. So he can hold on to this first one, but it's got an asterisk next to it.
It's a different era. Get over it. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB Lax Pod across the board. We're on every social platform. It helps the show continue to grow. Helps us do more dope stuff with and for you guys. So please keep following us on the socials. Subscribe to the pod on Apple and Spotify. Keep leaving those 5-star ratings and reviews. It really, really helps when you guys subscribe. Keep subscribing. Be a friend. Tell a friend. And of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia and Outside the Box podcast YouTube channels, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia, youtube.com/@OTB LaxPod. Big shout out to Meg Carney, Izzy Scane, Ross Scott, Austin Kaut for hopping on the show at Champ Series and being a part of this episode. Next week, we will include the Mike Rabel interview on the show as well from Champ Series. But this has been episode number 418 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, most disrespectful and unprofessional lacrosse podcast you ever done, seen, and heard in the land. It is the Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Industries Podcast Network. For Deej, for Meg Carney, for Izzy Scane, for Austin Cal, for Ross Scott, I'm KB. Enjoy this weekend of NLL action, and we'll see you right back here with the college show on Tuesday. And we'll be back with more Pro Talk on Friday. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here, y'all. Peace.
Peace.